Good morning. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. What a day. It is Monday morning. The weather's meh. And Tottenham are a shambles. But all I was told, just let them off the leash. Apparently, let them off the leash. They'll be fine. There's loads of goals and creativity in this team. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. It's nothing to do with the players. It's just Frank. We're going to see, aren't we? Because yesterday was one of the worst performances I've ever seen from a Tottenham team. And, hey, I'm not saying you should have kept Frank, but all of those people, I've seen all the waxing lyrical this week. My manager, Tudor, look what he said in press conferences. Look what he said last night. Arsenal, best team in the world. Arsenal, the best team in the world. If Frank had said that, everyone would have gone mad. Look how he set up yesterday. Exactly the same as the last manager. Why? Why? Could it be because the players aren't very good? Could it be that? Are we just going to stick our head in the sand again with a different manager? Already, all of the WhatsApps I'm getting is all about Tudor. What? Sorry, so it's not the players. It's not the players. No, it's just Tudor. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought he set up terribly. The back three with two centre-halves fit. Ridiculous. But do I believe if we had played a back four instead of a back three that we'd be sitting here today with a point or three? No. This was men versus boys. And as I've said, all these experts all year, we just want to see fight and passion. They're not playing for Frank. They're downing tools. There's no respect. They're not listening to Frank. We saw our captain yesterday not listen to Igor Tudor. When are we going to learn? When are we going to stop pretending these players are good? Tudor came out last night. People have already mentioned it in my chat. He sounded all Conte-esque, didn't he? After one game. It's almost as though it's been staring us Spurs fans in the face, but we don't want to believe it. We don't want to believe it because it's easier to just say, oh, look at the way they're set up. Yeah, nothing to do with how shit they are. Everybody, loads of people have been WhatsApping me, right? All the people, anyone but Frank. After one game, oh, that Tudor shit. Whoa. Anyone but Frank, right? Wake up. Wake up. We're in denial. Lang's in denial. Vinay's in denial. Spurs are in denial. The whole club. And relegation is real. It's a real threat now. And just remember, Johan Lang told us no one was available in January better than the players we saw yesterday. Just remember. And I'll say this, any YouTuber out there who thinks this is a good group of players, they don't understand football. They don't understand football. This is not a good squad of players. That 11 yesterday is awful. The summer transfer window was awful. The January transfer window was awful. But don't worry, let's just keep putting this in the sand and let's not worry about it. Because you know what? What do our fans want to do? What do these YouTubers want to do? They just want to cry about Ange. They want to cry about Conte. They want to cry about Jose, Poch. This is nothing to do with those managers. This is nothing to do with those managers. This is years and years and years of sabotage. This is years and years and years of poor planning or lack of, buying average players. And you know the funny thing? If you keep buying bad players, you will end up being a bad team. Look at us. Last year, 17th. This year, 16th. This is not a coincidence. This is not that, and you know I don't rate Ange, but this is not that Ange is the worst ever, or that Frank is the worst ever, or that Tudor is the worst ever. This is years and years of neglect and going like that with the squad. But we're burying our head in the sand. We want to blame an individual player, an individual signing, an individual manager, an individual director of football. This is years and years and years of neglect. This is negligent transfer window after negligent transfer window. Hello, Stanley. Negligence. People are going, core, this player's good. Are they? These players are better than what we're seeing. Based on what? Notice, whenever I ask that question, I get no evidence. I get called toxic. These players are better than what these managers are showing. Are they? When? Who? Why? How? What's the evidence? Oh, no, I just think it. But sure, when have you seen it? They're better than what we're seeing. No, they're not. They're not better than what we're seeing. They're not better than what we're seeing. Papa Sarr is not a good footballer. Archie Gray is not a good footballer. Not at this level. Radu Dragusin should not be in a Spurs first team. Vicario is not a good goalkeeper. Dominic Solanke is not a top goal scorer. Richarlison is not a top footballer. Jed Spence, he's okay, but not a top player. But we keep doing it, don't we? We keep saying it. All over X, I get sent posts. I get sent posts from X. Frank's a terrorist. Look what he did to our club. I'm seeing people blame Frank for yesterday. Maybe, just maybe, fans are going to start waking up now to how bad this squad is. You could bring Pep Guardiola to this squad. It's a mess. It's a mess. Who does Mickey van der Ven think he is? Ignoring the manager like he did yesterday. I'm sorry. What have you done in football, Mickey, to be that guy? I like Mickey van der Ven, by the way. I think he's a good player. But I heard it was, oh, they don't respect Frank. That's why they're ignoring him. Players were ignoring Tudor yesterday. Look at all the videos of Tudor going, come on, get up the pitch. They're just ignoring him. But I was told it was purely Frank that they ignored. We keep saying they've downed tools. Down tools from what? What have they downed tools? What does that mean? When have you seen these players? What's the opposite to downing tools? Upping tools? I don't know. What's the opposite? When have you seen the opposite to downing tools with this group of players? But still the fans, they want to tell you how good these players are. No evidence. No one sees them playing well. But people want to keep telling you. These players are good. And some of the fan base have kind of what it deserves. Sorry, that might piss people off. Really sorry about that. Some of them have. Because they rate these very bad footballers. I was told the North London derby at the Emirates was the worst performance we've ever seen. Yesterday's was worse. Statistically, everything about it was worse. And I'll show you the data in a minute. But I was told, what about a new manager bounce? These players, They won't dare do that to Tudor because, you know, he gets stuck in. He doesn't take prisoners. He doesn't take fools. There you are, game one, no change. Not even about the change in style, just no change in attitude, no fight. I was reading last night, people going, at least we fought. Did we? I just saw us getting opened up like a can of worms. This isn't about... Sure. Of course I'm blaming the players because our fans are thick as shit. I've said this shit. Our fans that rate these crap players deserve this. People don't want to hear that. People will call me toxic. Our fans that like these players deserve this shit. Sorry. Good morning, Lubo. I'm on one today.
Morning.
I'm on one. We deserve this.
Seems the whole of social media is on one at the moment. But you know, when you're looking at the 12 games that Tudor had to save the club, you're looking at, what would you say, 12 points? Do you think would be enough? 40 points should be enough, shouldn't it?
Yeah, about 11 points, 10 points. Yeah.
Arsenal wasn't one of those games that you were expecting to get any of those points from, was it?
Of course not. But
so in terms,
we were told that there was going to be fight, and Tudor came out in the week. We're going to fight. We're going to be aggressive. That was worse than the Emirates.
I thought the first 45 minutes, we were chasing them the whole of the first half. We had 27% possession. But I thought just sort of watching it from my vantage point and seeing how the team set up, the only problems I thought first half we were getting was Timber was doubling up with Saka and Spence. And there was no cover from Simmons. The rest of the midfield I thought were moving across, closing down well. Vicario didn't have too much to do first half in terms of saves. They had all the pressure. Second half, they scored very early again. Dragerson was sort of 5 yards back in his own box. Why he wasn't marking Gyökeres, God only knows. And the guys controlled it, free shot, and he went like an arrow, didn't it? I don't think Vicario even saw it.
No, it was a great goal.
Yeah. And it all sort of unravelled after that, didn't it?
But even in the first half, right? They had chance after chance. They didn't work Vicario, but how many just went past the post? You know, like I think Gyökeres had a shot that went past the post. Saliba's header just past the post. Mate, this was shambolic from minute 1 to minute 90. This was absolutely dreadful. And I'm not blaming Tudor, by the way. As I said, this is the players. But again, Frank took all the blame. Right now, Tudor, from certain fans, are going, Tudor's shit. He was the wrong manager to bring it. Why are we not allowed to say that these players are shit? Like why are they so protected?
I think number one, we were missing too many of the better players in our squad yesterday. When you look at the injury list, all the players that are out injured, Arsenal had a full strength side.
Sure.
So we were at a double disadvantage, apart from being 16th in the table and nearly 30 points before yesterday's game behind them, which says it all between. And it was a chasm, wasn't it, between the two teams?
Oh,
I think that's what upset me more than anything else. I didn't expect to get a result. I genuinely thought we'd lose. I thought the first half they fought well. Second half I thought was poor. What is particularly worrying is when we do attack, and the goal was a bit of individual brilliance, wasn't it? It was closing down, won the ball off Rice, carried it on, held him off, and finished brilliantly. That was the Mawani pre-Tottenham. That's probably from Frankfurt days, I would have thought. I thought the goal was superb. I thought the second goal that he should have allowed to have stood, I think was pathetic, just pathetic. I think I've seen.
If you raise your, if you do that,
TK on Romero, Gabriel on Romero, Lenny Yoro earlier this season, all of those were allowed Sav for more of a push than this one. And I think sorry, refs have got to be consistent. They're
I
either going to
don't disagree, but this can't be the reason to overshadow how shit we were. Like we can't keep blaming refs. We blame refs a lot. We were shit.
No, I'm talking about one specific instance. It would have been interesting if that had gone in, and it would have been 2-2, purely from the psychological point that they'd given away 2 goals at Wolves. At Brentford, it didn't work out for them either the way it should have done. So it would have been interesting. I thought that were, again, poor by the referee. You know, the referees have actually got to, Hal Webb's got to get all the refs together and they've got to actually say, is this a foul? If it's a foul, then give it for everything, give every single one. And if it's not, if it's a question that it's a slight shove, but the centre-back should be stronger, should be able to ride little nudges like that. You know, are we, unfortunately, all sort of physical contact has been taken out of the game now. And tackling has been taken out. It's not the game I played and used to watch. It's completely different.
I agree, but by the letter of the law, what Colin Mawani did was a foul. Spurs fans don't want to hear it. Whether or not refs are consistent is a different argument. Well, Colin Mawani should not have pushed him. If he didn't push him, we're 2-2, right?
Fine. If all the refs are
giving that decision to make, it was ridiculous.
Sure, but that's fair enough. But if all the refs are giving that offence in all the matches, then no one's got any complaint. But when refs don't give it against us, and then when we score, give it against us, I think that's when you do start to feel a little bit hard done by.
Well, I don't feel hard done by. I think that we're not looking at. I don't think we're being honest as a fan base. I genuinely don't. I think we kidded ourselves that we had a good transfer window in the summer.
No, I'm talking about one incident. That's all.
I know you are. I'm just putting it all together, right? People aren't listening to what I'm saying. By the letter of the law, yes, it is a foul. By the letter of the law, he put 2 hands on an opponent. It's a foul. Whether there was enough contact to make him go down, I agree. The player absolutely milked it. But don't give, as Tim Sherwood said just now, don't give the referee a decision to make. Don't do that. Nudge him. Gently nudge him with your shoulder. As soon as you raise both your hands, you are making the referee make a decision. I'm not saying it should or shouldn't have been given, but you're making the referee give him a decision.
I agree with that. Sure.
Forget that goal. That game yesterday should have been 7-8-9-1. They absolutely battered us from pillar to post, right? And again, do I think that Tudor got it wrong? Yes, I do. Do I think it would have changed anything? No. 3 at the back when you've got 2 fit centre halves and no wing backs. What are you doing? Like, I just think the whole thing is a mess. The whole thing is just a mess.
It is. The problem is, Sav, that the 2 wingers you've got, the 2 out-and-out wingers you've got, Kudus and Odebear, are injured. The two wing backs you've got are injured. Spence is not a wing back. Spence is a right back. So for me, whatever he did was wrong.
Sure.
Whatever he did was wrong because he had no choice. If you're going to play 3 at the back, you need wing backs, but you got no wing backs. And if you play 4 at the back,
if you're going to play 4 at the back, you need some wingers. Mate,
and we've got no wingers.
I agree with you. I've been trying to say this for months. Whether it's Frank, whether it's Tudor, whether Pep Guardiola comes in, we have not got the squad to play any particular style of play. So when people are going, "Oh, Tudor got it wrong," cool, okay. I didn't think he should have played a back 3, but even if we had played a back 4, who would have played?
If we'd have played a back 4,
Spence at right back and Sosa at left back,
probably. If you're
Sosa against Saka.
Okay, well, that's why he played Spence there. That's why he played Spence on the left. We understood that because Spence has had success against Saka previously. Yeah.
Far too casual. But look, I'm not going to change my mind, Lubo. Nothing's going to make me change my mind. I've not changed my mind all year. These players are not good enough, right? Nothing's going to make me change my mind on that, right? I think a lot of people were just expecting Frank goes, suddenly Spurs are going to put in effort. Suddenly these players are going to change their mentality and run through brick walls. I think yesterday showed us Van der Ven's, by the way, was absolutely shit yesterday. He was shocking. But his attitude towards Tudor, right? Lubo, this is a bad squad. Attitude, ability, this is bad. They can all, as far as I'm concerned, they can all go. All of them. I don't think any of them are as good. We got fans who make out, oh, when Romero and Van der Ven are fit, what a partnership. Is it?
I must say,
worst Premier League form has been with those two at centre half. Like
I think we saw a second half. I thought Jorgensen was fine first half. I thought the mistakes he was making. I thought second half he was appalling, absolutely dreadful. I thought Jorgensen's second half was dreadful.
Oh yeah, first half I thought he was good.
And you saw how the difference from you need Romero for these big games, because he turns up with the big games, and he would have been.
He also gets sent off in big games.
Of course, listen, the guy's an idiot. You know what he did has had massive ramifications, getting sent off in that game at Old Trafford. Correct, that's right. Carrick was missing 3 players only. He was missing De Ligt, Dorgu, and Mount. That was all out of a squad of 25. Tudor's walked in and he's missing 10 or 11. So it's and it's too much. It is too much.
Do you think we get anything at Fulham?
Probably not. All depends. All depends.
What was the point in sacking Thomas Frank? I'm going to ask the question. I'm not saying he should have stayed, but what was the point in sacking him with this squad? What was the point in it?
Players just switched off from Frank completely.
Did they look switched on yesterday?
I thought first half was better. You got to remember. This is a superb team at the moment. This is the best team in the Premier League, and I think yes. Everyone's looking at how we played, and everyone's forgetting about how good Arsenal were, because they came out.
You weren't saying this before under Frank though, and this is where people are critical. Sorry, hang on. Let's see. First half we played well, did we? First half we were better.
I thought we were fine. I thought
that was the first half.
Okay.
That was the first half. It was absolutely shocking.
Arsenal are a really good side. I think if you're going to judge Spurs stats, then I think from where we are in the table and as a team, I think you're going to get a much better idea against Fulham than you do against Arsenal. Because Arsenal came out yesterday, Arteta must have given them such a rocket after Wolves. They came out and literally...
We can't admit how bad these players are. Like, we just can't do it.
Listen, it's not a good squad. We know it's not a good squad. We know it's regressed every year for me since 2017. But I can't keep going on about it, because we all know where we are.
We looked better under Tudor than we did under Frank. Let me show you how much better we looked under Tudor than Frank. Are you ready? Because this is what makes me laugh about our fan base. We just make things up, right? This was Spurs. This was Spurs at the Emirates, right? This was Spurs at the Emirates. Okay? Take that in. This was Spurs yesterday.
17 shots, 3. 17 against 3, 6 against 20. So we both had 3 shots more.
But
and we've had 3% possession less.
Mate, this is my point. It doesn't matter who. This isn't about Frank, by the way, or Tudor.
No.
It doesn't matter who the manager is. This is a dreadful squad, right? This is a terrible squad. And I don't think until fans and the club realise how bad this squad is, this is going to keep happening. And every week I hear, but a different manager will do this. A different manager will do this, right? A different manager's doing nothing with this group of players. This is a really badly constructed squad of footballers. And all I hear is get behind the team, believe, have faith. Who have I got faith in? Some of those players yesterday are some of the worst players I've ever seen to put on a Spurs shirt, ever.
Oh, I've seen pretty bad ones in my time, believe me. I've
So
seen
have I, Lubo. So have I seen bad players. But we can't just pretend, right? Yesterday, I'm getting sent all these WhatsApps from people, right? I'm getting sent all these pictures from people like that Eureka in the chat there, saying, we were better under Tudor. Sorry, better at what? That game last night should have been 8 or 9. They battered us from pillar to post from minute 1. We can't pass a football. That's not Tudor's fault, by the way, or Frank's fault. That's because we haven't bought players capable of passing a ball. Everyone said, oh, Frank's got to let them off the leash. Let them off what leash? These players can't attack. There aren't attacking footballers on this pitch. I'm sorry. I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. I don't care if people hate me, right, on YouTube. I don't care if people hate my opinions everywhere. I've been true to this all season. This squad is shit. We did not buy what we needed to, and we are paying the price for it. And all I heard was, Frank can't get the best out of these forwards. Frank can't get the best out of these players. Yet game 1, straight away, none of them are switched on to Tudor. Tudor is standing on the sidelines screaming at them all game. None of them listened.
Do you know what the funniest? Do you know what the funniest thing was, Savva? The funny scene, the one where he's screaming at Van der Ven to push up. He's screaming. Van der Ven's looking at him, and then he just turns around, and then Tudor's like this. He just does this. He's like, what? He's like, what? Like, yeah. and he's just kind of like this, and then Van der Ven just does nothing, and it's like, well,
last night Tudor said what me and you have been saying all year. What are this team? What are these players? What's the point of what we're doing here? When I say it, I'm a toxic YouTuber. When Conte or Tudor says it, now, they're right. Hang on.
Yep.
But we can't get our heads around how bad some of these players are. We just keep sticking our head in the sand that these players are not the problem, right? 17th last year, we're 16th this year. When are we going to realize this is not a manager issue? This is a squad issue. I'm sorry.
Savva, it's what me and you've been kind of banging on about for months. And
one sec. It's
what we've been banging on about for months and months, right? And this is why I always said Frank was never the biggest problem. And the funniest thing is, people would say, "Oh yeah, you love Frank," and it wasn't about liking Frank, because I never wanted Frank in the very first place. It's about the fact that it didn't matter who the manager was, because the players have not changed, and we've got worse. We've actually I heard there's two. You know who they are, Sav, but I won't mention them because I know you don't like mentioning names on people's on your channel. But a big YouTube channel, they were saying in their post-match interview that we have no creativity. And I was just saying to myself, are you fucking kidding me? Right? I've literally been saying this the whole fucking season, right? That we have no creativity because the players who are the most creative in our squad are all injured. So where do you expect to come from? Odebear, who was playing yesterday? Muwani? Is that where the creativity is going to come from? Archie Gray right back. It's ridiculous.
Now these fans are going, oh, injuries, right? Oh, no creativity because Frank's been sacked, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
When Frank was here, right? When Frank was here, it was, oh, he can't get the best out of these players.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Best out of what? People keep saying to me, Danny, right? They keep saying to me, Danny, right? These players are better than what we're seeing. Sorry, based on what? On what evidence are these players better than... Look, well, the game against Arsenal at the Emirates, that was the day I knew that he had to get the sack. All right, cool. Well, look at yesterday. Yesterday was worse than what we did at the Emirates.
Yeah.
At home. And that was meant to be a new manager. That was meant to be... well, Tudor's come in. He's no nonsense. He makes players run through brick walls. He sits in his press conference going, we're going to put pressure on. We're going to press. We're going to fight. I'm here to do a job. I'm not blaming Tudor, by the way, Danny. I'm not blaming Tudor. I've got no issue with Igor Tudor.
Do you know what the funniest thing is, Savva, as well?
These
Like,
players are shit. We can't admit it to ourselves because it doesn't go along with the narrative that everyone had that this was all Thomas Frank or all Ange. This is not all Ange. This is not all Frank. This is not all Tudor. This squad is shit. And
but not just that, Savva. People like have forgotten that you do realize that most of these players are Ange's players, right? And it was him that signed most of these players. So people don't want to admit that this has been going on since that was it 4-1 defeat against Chelsea after Ange's 10th game. Was that the game where it all started to change, right? That after that game, since that day, we have been getting worse and worse, progressively worse and worse since that day. So this has been going on for years. It's not something that's just happened this season. This has been nearly 3 years of it. Like, we've been getting worse for 3 years and nothing has been changing. We've got the squad's been getting worse as well. When the squad gets worse, your form and the players, the quality you have.
Danny, this was 3 games ago. Since this, we've now lost 3 games in a row, right?
Yeah.
This was 3 games ago. That means in 105 games, right? Tottenham have lost 48, right?
Yeah, it's terrible.
But these players are better than what they're showing, apparently. I will die on this hill. I will die on this hill, Danny.
I will too.
What I said in the summer, that the summer was shit, and everyone's going, oh, we signed good players, that January was shit, and that this is a massive issue no matter who the manager is. This is shit.
To be fair, Sav, I said I admit that I was one of those people that said, yes, it still wasn't enough, but it was the best window that I've seen in terms of the quality that we brought in. But I was clearly wrong in the fact that it like you were banging on about it for the whole summer, saying how bad it was and how negligent it was of us not getting Son. And I was saying, well, no, we actually did all right with who we got. But I never thought that it would be that we would have the injuries, that those injuries to our attackers would affect us in that way. And then the fact that Solanke obviously got injured, it just made it even more evident how bad it was in terms of how we are right now. And also, if I'm being brutally honest, I didn't think it would take Xavi as long as it has done to try and get into it. And even still, he's not really there yet. In terms of
I don't blame him. Just before
I don't either.
Really blame him. Like, people are going, oh, Conor Gallagher's shit, and it's like, you can't come into a mess and just hit the ground running. You've got to come into a settled. Look at Semenyo and Guehi.
Oh yeah,
right? They've settled immediately into Man City because it's a well-oiled, well-drilled team.
Yeah,
right. Danny.
Morning,
mate. I mean, I don't think anyone's upset that we lost. I think we knew we would, but again, players not listening to the manager, people talking about the tactical setup. I don't actually think, Dan, it matters what tactics we play. I think these players are shit. But where are you at with all of it?
On the tactical side of it, I don't really think it matters what way we would have done it. We can't play with a 4-2-3-1 playing out wide because we have absolutely no wingers whatsoever. So in that aspect, to me, why would you use a formation with wingers when you haven't got none? But then we haven't got 3 to play a stable 3 at the back either, have we? If you look at what players we've got, about the only real way you could look at that and put players in sync is playing a proper old school diamond formation, basically. And that's not going to do you no favours in this day and age of football either. That's going to leave you totally open on the sides. By the end of it, it just looked at a situation we were screwed if we did and screwed if we didn't sort of thing. I had that hope that they'd bottle it and we might get a cheeky draw out of it, but that obviously went down the window. The whole thing just imploded, basically. We got that second goal, held on to it, and then they literally walked out in the second half, and it was like they actually put their boots on and obliterated us. In that first half, they could have easily been 5 goals up, in my opinion, there.
And this thing is, Dan, do you know the thing is, I was saying before the game that Tottenham are either going to win this game somehow by some miracle, or they were going to get absolutely battered, and we got absolutely battered. Like
Completely.
it was we could have lost that 7.
Yeah.
Like I think that is genuinely even worse than the game at the Emirates. I think that was even worse than the game at the Emirates. Like it was.
There you go, Danny. This is the Emirates, right? This is the Emirates.
It's disgraceful.
Everything's worse. Everything's worse. Possession, right? Look at passes. Look, 73%.
Yeah, it's disgraceful.
Like these players can't pass the football.
No.
And I think Danny's right. I don't think it matters. Don't get me wrong, right? When I saw the lineup, I'm like, oh, playing a back three when you've only got 2 fit centre backs is mad.
Yep.
And also, again, I've got to be really careful here because I don't really think it matters what formation you play at the moment. I think we're shit.
No,
Neither do I.
You take Paulinho, who's your midfield destroyer.
Yeah, and you put him at centre back.
Out
Stupid.
against two of the best midfielders in the country in Zubimendi and Rice, who absolutely ran that game, didn't they? Both of them were excellent yesterday, Zubimendi and Rice.
Yeah.
And we've taken out our best DM, our only DM, put him at centre back rather than have him in there fighting again. And you're like, oh, this club's done. It doesn't. That's why I truly believe go and get Pep Guardiola, bring Poch in. It doesn't matter. It genuinely at this stage doesn't matter who is managing this group of players. It's dreadful.
It goes back to the same. We could go down. Like we're definitely in a relegation battle. Like we're 1 point closer to that relegation zone now, and you just can't see. The fact that Tudor even in that press conference after the game, he was like basically how bad it was. Every manager has when they come to Spurs, get in, and after a week they're like, "Oh fuck, what have I walked into?"
Yeah.
Like literally, Jose Mourinho said it. Do you remember when he said it a week after after he joined? He genuinely thought that it was going to be it was better than what it was, but then realizing that we're actually just fucking shit.
Do you know the funny thing though, right? The funny thing about this is I spoke to Dan Potts this morning, from Football's 12
Yeah. I know Potsy.
And he said, Sav, no banter, but he said, our 2 easiest games this season have been against Tottenham. Like he said, no matter how bad you lot have been down the years, we've never opened you up like this before in terms of ease. Like even in the days where they've scored 5 past us or whatever, we've been in the game or we've had attackers like Bale or Kane and Son. He said, these 2 games were the easiest 2 games. Like he said, even our goal, all right, good pressing by Mawani, but was a mistake by Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Like
Savva, in my lifetime,
got to this stage where
in my lifetime, I have never seen. I've never as bad as that at home ever. In my 33 years of supporting this club, I have never witnessed a North London derby that bad. Like, and in the 90s, right? We weren't as bad as this. Like, I'm telling you, we might, and we actually had some players in the 90s that would get us out of. We had stars in the team at times. Darren Anderton, right? As much as he was injury prone, he was a class player. David Ginola, right? Robbie Keane, we had Berbatov, we had Ledley King, we had class in our team. Yeah, David Ginola, right? The guy who was my idol growing up, right? And fucking we've got Tell on the bench, we've got Odebear, Richarlison. Like, do you know what the most funniest thing about yesterday was for me? Was that the one player who actually looked like he was going to do something was taken off the pitch, and he was the guy that scored the goal. Right, the one player that actually did anything yesterday for us, and they take him off and bring on Richarlison and Solanke. I mean, after that, I was like, "There's no hope we're going to get a."
Do you know what makes me laugh? And Luba, let me bring you in here, right? What makes me laugh is
I'll back in a sec, Sav.
Everything Tudor said in the last 48 hours, the way he's set up, the subs he's made. If that was Frank, everyone's losing their mind. Everything Tudor is saying now is the same thing that all the other managers have said. Arsenal are great. Arsenal are the best team in the country, right? He's making the same subs. He's put out the same formation. He's played the same players out of position. Are we not seeing that this is big? This is deeper than managers. Are we not seeing that now?
Well, I think he was put the thoughts about the players to one side. Just talking about team selection now.
Sure.
For yesterday, you've got Pellegrini and Gray out of position. For me personally, I would have put Gray on the bench, but put Byfield in there and put Pellegrini in midfield, and swapped it around a little bit. That's what I would have done, because then you're playing a centre back in a back three. It doesn't matter. He's 17. It doesn't matter. For me, that would have been better. Somebody playing in their natural position. Let him get the experience. He may well have had a game like Tanganga did when he came in against Liverpool.
Sure.
And
you're right, Lubo. If you're going to play the back three, then Byfield had to play as the centre half. Like you can't play the back three. By doing that, you're weakening the central midfield area. Taking Paulinho out. I was back.
And Graham Paulinho got killed down that side, as you would expect them to do.
And Sarr is crap, by the way. He is the most rubbish player I've seen at Spurs. He is so
awful.
bad. I can't wait for this guy to be sold. He needs to be sold. He's crap.
By the way, Stel is joining us. He's just not at home at the moment. He has got the link. He will be joining us. Laszlo Smooth, I tell you what I like, though, is when you're saying for a more balanced panel, sorry, what positive would you like me to take from Spurs at the moment? Sorry, please share with me what I should be sitting here going, I can't even say, guys, I can't even come on here today and go, you know what? At least we saw a spirited fighting, but I can't say I saw anything. I thought yesterday was one of the worst performances of the season. There's been many, but
I think with that one, we just got schooled in every which way. We got beaten by the better team, hands down, in everything. I think we got most done on the. I think we got. Compared to the first game, I think they were trying to get the ball more and epically failing at the same time. They didn't just start off intending to stick 11 behind the bloody ball, but Arsenal put us in that position. Whereas I think in the first game, we actually started off where we had no intention of going forward.
Correct.
I think that's about the only positive side I could look at it. Arsenal actually made us do that this time, not that we intended to. But the problem was, even when we did push for the ball and get the ball back, each and every one of those players lost it within another touch of the ball.
Oh, it was awful.
And more than half the time, it wasn't even the pressure off the Arsenal player that they lost the ball. It was their own lack of skill or lack of capability or lack of mentality or what's going on around them that they actually lost the ball. I think in the first bit, we actually tried harder to get the ball and everything, but kept losing it as well. I think we got most obliterated on the left-hand side with Spence and Simmons trying to cover it.
Facts.
Simmons proved
Spence was awful, Dan, last night. He kept losing the ball. The amount of time Spence.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them are terrible, but like from an attacking sense, Simmons was always, there was no one around him every time he got the ball and he had it forward. So he was always, and he did lose it
just as many as the rest, and he lost it.
He did, but
he had the ball on his feet several times and bounced it off his feet just as much as everyone else.
He did. But Spence, the amount of times that he held onto the ball so long and lost possession, and again for the fourth goal, I think it was the fourth goal, or one of them anyway. Spence again lost the ball. And what you saw as well, which is even more funny, is that we actually went more long ball yesterday than we have done with Frank all season.
That was the one that really bugged me yesterday.
Everyone was saying, I know, Dan, and everyone was saying, oh, Frank's long ball, but this guy's worse.
I got no problem with a long ball. Dan, I got no problem with a long ball. The fact that the goalkeeper was already throwing the ball up the end of the pitch when there was nobody there or just one man there, when he had literally his whole team standing next to him. Sometimes with games, when you just haven't got it, you've just got to go with the old school tactics of long ball, hit and hope, and also get stuck into a game basically and see if you can do it that way. But he kept doing it. He kept doing it with nobody up the other end of the pitch.
That's my point.
Stands a chance.
That these managers are going long and direct because they know that there's no way we can play through midfield.
Yeah.
Like
But
we,
at
we
least pass it, Savva, when there's somebody there.
Dan, I completely agree with you. I'm
I
not
agree too.
justifying it. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that when you look at those midfielders, right? Not one of them, and Dan, we've had this chat so many times. Not one of the last 6 central midfielders we've bought is a ball-playing midfielder. Not one. Wolves bloody buy ball-playing midfielders more than we do, right? By the way, they had 4 Gomez's on the bench yesterday. Did anyone see that? Wolves, 4 Gomez's on the bench. But I'm watching. Wolves have got ball-playing midfielders. Crystal Palace have got a ball-playing midfielder, right? All of these clubs have got a bloke in midfield that can get the ball. Spurs, no. All runners, just runners.
You buy players from teams that fight in the relegation zone most years. That's what you're going to expect.
You're going to turn into, yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly what we've done. Like we bought Brennan Johnson, right? Who, by the way, Palace fans,
they
hate him. They hate him, right? But Spurs fans still say, "Oh, we should have kept Johnson." So this is why I'm going to say this, right? This is why Spurs fans deserve to get relegated, because they accept this kind of crap.
Who wants Jonathan? I don't know one person, Danny. That's
Lubo.
I don't know one person who's upset Johnson has gone. Not one.
I know people.
Frank
Lubo
didn't get the best out of Johnson. Johnson's our best goal scorer.
Lubo, I know 2 big YouTubers that kept using that same excuse for me, saying that Johnson was our top scorer last season, so Frank should have done more with him. I'm sorry, but the guy was a fucking liability. He was rubbish. He is so crap. I've never seen a worse winger at Spurs in all my life, apart from the fact that he scored tap-ins, because the way that Ange set the system up was so that he could score tap-ins. And the goals that he did score usually were against crap teams. The only goal that was actually good for Johnson, for me, and it was a shit goal as well, was the goal in the Europa League final. That was it.
Then, if you add up most of Johnson's goals, if I added it up right, I think only 3 or 4 of them actually mattered.
Exactly.
The rest of them, we was already 3-1 up when he scored.
Yeah, spot on, Dan.
That is what you call playing a player for his capability. He's got lack of capability. He couldn't cross, couldn't pass, couldn't everything, but he knew how to put it in the back of the net from there. So Ange did use his brain in that aspect and used him to his advantage of what he can actually do. Apart from that, he's very incapable as a player, in my opinion. But a lot of people were still defending him. Why aren't we playing our top scorer? Why isn't Frank doing this? Why is it? Because Johnson, the fact that we bought Kudus just about said it all anyway.
Exactly.
But again,
the problem we got, guys, is that we only attack in one of 3 ways. You've either got a corner long throw, set piece. You've got Simmons running with the ball, or you've got the long ball, and that's it. Those are the only 3 methods. They're the only 3 ways that we attack now. It's very predictable.
That's the only way we can play, right? Like I saw this yesterday, Lubo. Sorry to just jump in there. I had to go and get myself a great big slab of chocolate to make my life better. I saw someone say this yesterday about the only way Spurs can attack. Yeah. If you don't buy attacking players, it's funny, isn't it? You can't attack if you do not.
Did you see the stat?
Everyone said
on the.
Hang on, Danny. Everyone said Frank doesn't want to attack. Maybe they should have watched his Brentford team when he had Tony and Mbuemo and Wissa. They attacked. They scored goals. He's not got those players at Tottenham. I don't know how we're not seeing this. And that same rule applies to Tudor. Tudor isn't a miracle worker. He can't suddenly make these players brilliant going forward. Sorry, I'm so... it's staring us in the face. It has been all season, and we blamed the wrong thing over and over and over again.
What was funny is there was a stat yesterday that was showed the amount of set pieces at both in the Premier League who scored the most set pieces. I think Arsenal scored was it 14 or something, or 12? Yeah, and we'd scored 13. And the 2 teams that usually that is their biggest attacking outlay this season didn't score 1 set piece yesterday, not at all. And it just goes to show like how bad I think both teams are, to be honest. I think Arsenal are a very good team because of because of the amount of players, the quality of players they have. They've got a squad full of quality, so they can change things up against different opponents. But if I'm being brutally honest, I don't think Arsenal are a really good footballing team. I just think we
24, Danny, from open play this year.
Yeah. And Arsenal
24 goals from open play in 27 games.
And Arsenal have scored probably 10 of their open play goals, or 7 of their open play goals against us.
Against us.
Yeah, half of them against us. Yeah, half of them. So what?
Eze's got 6 Premier League goals and 5 of them are
5 against
So
Spurs.
what does that say? We make Arsenal look like a fucking prime Barcelona. It's like,
I think one of the things that bothered me yesterday is some might not like this. This is opinion from what I saw. I think Dragusin yesterday had a better game than Van der Ven. I think he actually looked better on the pitch than Van der Ven yesterday.
You know what, Dan?
A moment or two.
Do you know what I was just going to say, Dan? Right. So I was like, my boys always rib me. So I start doing my post-game report from the start of the game. You're writing that stuff down. What you doing? Right. Right. So I start writing it down at the beginning. Okay. So what I'd wrote was, right, I'd gone through first half summary while I was on the toilet, right? Dragusin, really, really good first half.
Yeah.
Got in some important headers, a couple of really superb tackles, blah, blah, blah. But what I forgot to do was to amend it in my full-time score when I'd done the second bit. Do you know how many people messaged me? Are you effing blind? What are you? Right. Dragusin was dog shit. He was in the second half. He was absolutely atrocious, right?
But so was Van der Ven.
Van der Ven was horrible.
One slip as a podcast or doing a report, and you're in the.
No, I don't think that's a slip. Overall, if you add up the overall game, I think Dragusin had a better game than Van der Ven.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to say it. Let's be fair, guys. Everyone knows I don't mind saying something that seems unpopular, right? Van der Ven, when players run at him, he's not a good defender, right?
Yeah.
He is not a good defender when you run at him one-on-one. He's very quick. He's great in the recovery, right? But one-on-one, you watch when Saka ran at him yesterday and Gyökeres ran at him, he looks all at sea. His legs don't know which way they're going. But again, we've made this notion in our head that Van der Ven is £100 million centre half because he's
down tools, Savva. Look, he's down tools, right? That
maybe.
Like I was videoing from the opposite side. I was videoing from the opposite side of the stadium. But I was looking at Tudor going absolutely mental, going like this push-up. What I couldn't see was exactly from where I was, exactly who he was directing it at. And now I've looked at that close-up video of him remonstrating with Mickey Van der Ven, and Mickey Van der Ven copping a deafen, like he can't hear what he's saying, and he's trying to call him over, and he's still not going over. Man, this is a... So I spoke to my mate, and he was saying to me about a certain player in the Spurs squad, and he was reporting about Tudor, and he said the guy's mental, right? And I said, "What do you mean mental?" He said, "Mental in a good way, in the sense that if you step out of line, you're going to know it, right? It's not like Frank, or he's like a mental case, right? He's in the mode." He's Conte. He's a Croatian Conte, right?
Yeah, you can see it. You can see he's a guy that won't take shit.
Yeah, he won't take shit. So when
I bet Van der Ven starts next week, though.
Well, because there is no option. There is no option.
Johnny.
There is no other option. But he's down tools. But what I was thinking was, when you're starting like that and you are the leader... hang on a minute, mate. I've just given you the captaincy and you're sitting on the side of it. We're getting tanked and you're fucking ignoring me. What the hell's going on, mate? What the hell's going on? So I would be interested, like you just said, what happens this week between now and the Fulham game? Does he start listening or does he remove the armband from him?
Well, I've seen a report this morning that Danso and Porro should be back for Fulham.
Oh, good. That will help our goals.
Well, Porro was always due. He was almost made this week. Almost.
Yeah. So if that's the case, for me personally, I'd take Gray and Sarr out, put them on the bench. You put Danso in, and you push Polina into midfield with Basuma.
Sorry, hang on.
No, I said.
Sorry, Lubo. Well, hang on. Hang on a minute. I need to go and have a lie down.
we'll get into Gray later because he is absolute toilet. By the way,
He's shit. He is crap. He is crap.
But
He is
we'll talk
rubbish.
about it later because Lubo told me off on WhatsApp last night, didn't you, Lubo? Lubo had a right go.
I did sell you off.
50 Shades of Grey.
Zero shades of grey.
You know when your mum tells you off and you're like, oh shit, I'm actually being told. Lubo told me off last night. He told me, oh, Savva, you're the oracle, aren't you? look, Johnny, it's going to be interesting to see, right? Because as before, these players ignored Ange, they ignored Frank. From yesterday, it looked like they were ignoring Tudor.
Yep.
But apparently they down tools for Frank. Apparently the dressing room was poor because Frank didn't. They weren't respecting Frank. This is 2 years in a row. We've been 17th and 16th. At what stage, Johnny, are we going to wake up and go, maybe, just maybe, this squad is shit? Like, at what point are we going to realise?
Because there's no one, unfortunately, Savva, there is no one left at the club who is a football person who understands the deep, deep, deep shit that this club is in. And when I say deep, look, I've said this before on other shows, right? And so I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I do believe that Daniel Levy always suspected when Uncle Joe started getting a bit senile, right, that the Lewis kids would make a play to oust him from his position. And so what he did over a period of time, he made his position. He was so ingrained in every aspect of the club, from toilet paper to the deals, to the finance,
the lights in the
sponsorship,
stadium,
everything, that if you removed him and you pull out the pin, the whole lot comes tumbling down. And
do you know what, Johnny,
let me just finish 1 second. Sorry, Lubo, let me just finish. Right. So what's happened is they've pulled him out. Okay. There's no plan. There was no plan. They thought, oh, we can get through this. How difficult can it be to manage a football club? Because we've managed a business. We have property companies. We have 200 companies in Tavistock. We can do it. Well, let me tell you, it's the blind leading the blind. And without throwing anyone who I know under the bus, right now, up in that club, it is a total and utter shit show. You've got Johan Lang, who hasn't got a fucking clue. Vinay, who is so deep in the shit. And then you got Bauscher, who is a property guy who thinks, oh, you know what? I've done property. I can do football. It's not a problem, right? How difficult can it be? And so what you have now is the perfect storm to actually send us into a tornado spinning perilously close to the relegation. Sorry, Lubo, go on.
But he built that on self-interest, not what's best for the football club.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, look,
Sure.
I'm just saying that he knew deep down that Vivian and him never got on, right? We know that.
Correct. We know that.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he almost thought, look, self-preservation. Everyone does it, right? Self-preservation. You're in a business or you're in a company. You want to make sure you're okay, right? And he was in a position, look, they gave him carte blanche to run that business. It's their own fault. But to take him out, it should have been a slow handover. Daniel, look, thank you very much for what you've done. But, you know, we'd really like the family to come involved now. Was, you know, just slowly ease you out. If you could hand over slowly. But no, they ripped him out, marched him out of the building. No one knew what was going on. So tell me, who knew what was inside Daniel's mind? You couldn't get in the people who worked with Daniel because they were also removed. It's like buying over a company that's successful and removing all the successful components of that company and saying, well, yeah, here we are, we're going to carry on.
Johnny,
The other thing is, John,
it's what Chelsea did.
Look at what we are now, yeah? I mean, we've all had our Levy debates and everything else, yeah. And on the football side, we've looked unstable for a very, very long time. But one thing we've always been able to do, I say preach very lightly, but preach that on the business side, on the organisation side, we're one of the top clubs in football. Now without Levy, we look even more unstable and even more of a mess because we don't even look like we've got half a clue what we're doing on the business side either. Without Levy, we are more of a mess than we actually was.
Which is why he said in that interview, "You'll appreciate me when I'm gone." This is exactly what he meant.
He knew something was coming.
Yeah, when he said
it's looking like that way.
Honestly, Dan, when he said that, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like, I genuinely, there was a little bit of "oh fuck" thing because you don't say that unless you know like what the fuck is going on behind the scenes, right? And he clearly knew exactly what Johnny said. He was so ingrained into everything. As soon as he stepped out of that, he knew they were not going to cope. He knew it. He bloody knew it. But the thing is, even though that was the case, I still am glad that he's not at this club because he is part of the problem. The next part of the problem that needs to go is this Inic and the two Tweedledee and Tweedledum brother and sister.
We replaced a problem with a bigger problem.
Yeah, but Dan, the only way to get rid of problems is to start edging them out. You have to.
Obviously,
you can't just keep going with two problems. We've got rid of one problem. Now the other problem needs to go.
The owners are the ones that ain't going nowhere fast.
But you say that, right? But if we were to get relegated at this point, I actually think this club needs that kind of reset. Like they need this kind of reset because if we want to bring through youth academy and youth players, that could be the place that we could do it in the championship. I'm not joking. I actually think this club needs a complete reset. And I think
if we go down, look, and do you know what? I famously said from my point of view about 10 games ago, we won't go down. Now I'm going, I'm not so sure, right?
Yeah.
Rooney said it yesterday. He said Forest have a much better squad than Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, they do.
That's thinking, right? I watched Forest yesterday, and
They do.
I'd take Aina. I'd take Milenkovic.
Sangare.
Milenkovic all day long.
I'd take Nico Williams. I'd take Ortega. I'll take Sangare.
Anderson.
I'll take Anderson.
Yeah.
I'll take
Gibbs White.
Igor Jesus.
Igor Jesus. Yeah, not Thiago.
All better than our players.
But we seem to think that we've just got a God-given right to be better than these clubs. These clubs have scouted better than us, right? And thank God that Forest have chopped and changed their manager. How many managers they had this year? 7, 8, 9? I don't know.
Lost count.
3, I think. 3.
But you know what, Savva?
Four,
it's not just about that, Savva. 4. This would be the 4th.
Is it 4 managers this year?
4 managers.
I thought it was 3.
4 managers in 28 league games, 27 league games.
That's insane.
Can I just say one other thing to throw into the melting pot is the fact that the club, having lost AIA, right, are trying to negotiate the front shirt sponsor right now. And as I've said, and this was going back about 8-10 weeks ago, how are we going to do that? Where we're in free fall, when you're in a toxic environment where every bit of news that comes out of the club is negative. Clubs, brands don't want to be associated with negativity. The other thing to throw into the mix is next season, gambling is gone, right? You can't have gambling on the front of the shirts, okay? So therefore, the scramble to find the big sponsors has intensified. And we, like we are with our transfers, okay, we are not at the first sitting. We are right down the bottom. We are not going to get a deal like we got with AIA. That's for sure. AIA got their own issues, financial issues right now. So I'm not sure if they're the ones who were going to go onto our training kit, who are now going to be removed. But Tottenham have got a real problem trying to get a shirt sponsor for next season that's anywhere near the level of a BetMGM or an AIA. And I don't think people have factored it in.
I think the other thing you look at with that, Johnny, is that Spurs will not get the same sort of sponsors as other clubs because we are not a big club.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And I know that hurts. I'm agreeing with you. And I know that hurts some people. Again, go back in the history of 30 years ago, all you want. That is totally irrelevant and means nothing now to what transfers you get or to what sponsors you get. Because Spurs are not even looked on as a big club, let alone an elite club now, because this is going to be the second season in 15th, like under 15, basically, even fighting a relegation battle. And through the lack of what we have done over the past years, how can we even get looked on as a big club, let alone a bloody elite club? We're now coming down the levels from being the only reason we are even looked at as a big club is because we have money in our back pocket. But now we're not even going to be able to rake that in. Yeah, because we're going to be in the bottom 15 fighting a bloody relegation. So we're going to be struggling with getting promotions and that and everything with the likes of Newcastle, with the likes of Nottingham Forest, with the likes of Palace, Fulham. Because at the moment, how anyone can even sit there and say Spurs are even a big club in football, bar the money and bar the supporters, I'd like to know how. Because we've done nothing big in football.
Well, when you look at when you look at someone like Chelsea, who apparently are completely separate to the Saudi PIF fund. Apparently, they're separate to Newcastle, but Clear Lake Capital, who own Chelsea's biggest shareholder, is Saudi PIF. When a club like that struggle to find a shirt sponsor, in fact, they've done a shirt sponsor for the remaining games this season, and they are struggling to find one. Newcastle will always find one because of all the subsidiary companies within the Saudi PIF fund. Where do we land on this, right? We're talking about, £20 million a year gone, right? Potentially.
Who's going to pay that for a
big club? Johnny, it wasn't 20 million. It was a real shit deal. I think it was half that.
No, but the deals that are being done, Lubo, now are in that figure, right? Is what I'm saying to you. In fact, Arsenal's is bigger than that. In fact, Arsenal's kit deal, that's another thing. That was that Daniel done some amazing deals, but the worst deal was the 15-year deal with Nike, where we're getting half. We're getting half of what Arsenal are getting a season now. But I'm just saying to you, right? How many clubs in the Premier League right now are sponsored by a gambling company? Whether it's Bingo,
loads,
or
Bet365, or
exactly, all gone, right?
Yeah.
And where are we going to be when it comes to handing it out? We're going to be like sponsored by Durex.
We haven't even got a stadium sponsor. I know. We haven't even got a stadium sponsor. Do you know what? Since Spurs built that stadium, I've met my wife, moved house, got married, right? And in that time, Spurs haven't managed to get a stadium sponsor. Can we just agree, right? You know, when people are like, oh, everyone hates Spurs, but they don't. We're just a laughing stock.
We are.
We are. We are
We're a circus.
More people hate Arsenal. I'm telling you. More people
they do. Yeah. No. We should have that. That should be the name of our Netflix series. That should be the name of our Netflix series. That'd be a good watch, actually.
But have you noticed anyone that tells the truth, we don't like it? Look how upset everyone got when Frank told the truth, right? Oh, we don't want it. We want him to tell us we're just going to win. Okay, cool. Like Tudor last night told the truth. I'm now seeing fans go, he's not right for us. Another mouthpiece.
I've heard the players have turned on him already.
Yeah. Well, they have. Sorry.
Yeah. They turned on him already. Not even a week.
Laugh, right? Who are you to come into my club? Who are you to come into my dressing room and start telling me what to do? Who do you think you are?
Yeah. But do you know what the funny thing is, though, Johnny? The funny thing is when people like, I don't know, Van der Ven, Romero, when they come out and speak, the fans will go, yeah, my captain, my leader. Yeah, he's telling the truth. Hang on. These guys are part of the problem.
Yeah.
These guys are part of the problem, but we love it because they're calling out the board and then they come back and apologize, right? Like, this is ridiculous. And I don't know if any of you saw Van der Ven's interview after the game yesterday.
No, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Just absolute
Horrific.
What did he say?
It was
What did he
awful.
say? What did he
Go
say?
on, Johnny. Go for it, man.
Mate, it was like, you know, when he asked him, like, he just said, well, Arsenal are a better club than us, you know, but there was no, we've got to pull this out. We've got to do something about it. Right? This is the captain. You're looking for someone to say, fans, I really apologise for everything we've done. We let ourselves down big time. We got to get together. We got to listen to, we got to get behind the manager. We've got to circle the wagons. There was none of that. There was none of that Martin Luther King speech to rally the fans.
Was it like just a defeatist attitude?
Defeatist, mate. Why don't you go off, right, and get your stuff ready for the championship? I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear any of it. It's a sorry state of affairs. Well, we could possibly go. Look, I will tell you, in the players' lounge afterwards, there were certain players who were smiling, seeing their family, right? Okay. And there were
Johnny, did you give a piece of your mind, mate?
No, I wasn't there, but I know
Did you not take Lubo's 7-point manifesto?
No.
In the tunnel club.
They've got it pinned. They've got it pinned in the training room, right? As they come in every day. But the fact was there were a couple who were like really seriously pissed off, right? With what's going on.
Who was really pissed off, like from what you saw?
I'm not going to say what. I'm not going to say. I'm just leaving it there. But I think the thing is here that someone like Mickey Van der Ven probably thinks, well, if we get relegated, they'll have to sell me.
100% he thinks that. That's why he's acting the way he is. I've been saying this for weeks. He doesn't. That's the problem. A lot of players don't care because they know if Spurs get relegated, they're just going to get
off.
Well, they might have a clause.
Yeah.
There probably is a clause.
Probably is.
Conor Gallagher has probably more than likely got a clause if we are relegated, right? If I was his agent, 100% I'm putting that clause in. When I signed and we were in the shit that we were in, right? If we go down, it's a relegation clause. I go out for X.
But do you think though, Johnny, because we've never been a team in the Premier League era anyway to be historically that close to relegation, is it because I saw a report from Matt Law and someone else that in the players' contracts, a lot of the Tottenham players or most of them don't have relegation clauses in their contract because the fact that they never would anticipate us being in a relegation battle.
Yeah, some of them 100% because they would have signed 3 or 4 years ago where it wasn't a thing, right? But
Johnny, they'd have to be sold anyway, even if they haven't got relegation clauses.
Yeah, they'd have to be sold.
You can't in the Championship. You cannot have players on 195 grand a week. Like I don't care how rich you are as a club. That is not sustainable to have players on 10 million a year.
Well, unless they.
It's okay though, Savva. It's okay because in Leicester's case, if you get relegated, right, and you bounce back and you break all the rules, but you're in the Premier League, they can't touch you. They won it in court, right? Okay, they won that battle in court, but we'd have our parachute payments.
I'll tell you what though, Conor Gallagher, right, Tudor, these people who just walked through the door must be looking and going, what have I joined? Because let's be fair, as much as Gallagher hasn't been good for Spurs, no one has. No, there's a reason we keep losing. This isn't about one player. We've seen what Gallagher does at other clubs, right? But him, Tudor, they must be speaking to their agents going, what the fuck is...
But this is the problem, Savva, as well, because it's not just them. It's also some of the better players in the squad. For example, let's just say Xavi Simons, right? As much as he is the player who I think he can be in the future and what he can offer, right? He's also looking at this like, what the fuck is this? And the amount of times, I know Xavi Simons didn't have a good game yesterday, but when he is playing well, the amount of times you see the reaction on his face and he's like trying to pass a ball and then they miss like a 5-yard sitter or something like that. And the look on his face is like, are you fucking serious? Like, are you serious? Like, this is what I don't play with. Yeah, he's gone. Yeah, he'll be gone.
We will be left next year. Do you know what? Somebody said to me today, right? Honestly, someone said, if we go down, does anyone trust the owners of this football club to get us back up?
No.
Or could we go into free fall and slip right the way through and do what Leicester are currently doing? Because let's be brutally honest, if we go down, Van der Ven, Romero, Porro, Adogi, gone, right?
Oh, a lot of
Gallagher,
them.
gone, right? Basuma's going in, right? Bentancur will be gone, right? Xavi Simons will be gone. Kulu, Maddison, Kudus, right? Solanke will get a bottom half.
Maddison might actually stay. I actually think he could stay.
But you get my point, Danny, right?
Yeah.
He's
Now
only
we're
got
left
one
with-
knee.
Yeah.
But now we'd be left with
Bring
loads
Mendy
of players who aren't good enough to get us out the championship. Tell, Gray, Odeberg, Bergvall. These players
rubbish.
won't get you promoted,
No,
right?
they're crap.
Then you're bringing back all the kids that are out on loan in the championship that can't even get a proper game in the championship at the moment. Who's trusting Vinay and Lang
Oh,
if we
don't.
get relegated to go out and buy what you need to get out? I can't believe we're having this conversation, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
But who would trust them to go and, like, if Forest go down, Forest have got players that have been there, seen it, and done it.
But they've got an owner who cares. They've
Right.
got a
Sure.
Marinakis cares.
We don't have players for a relegation scrap, right? Like, if you look, watch when teams are in a relegation scrap, teams like Forest in the years gone past, they've got a Chris Wood, right? Not saying he's great, but a guy who's been there, seen it, done it. He's used to that battle, used to that fight. We've got a team of players that all think they're better than they are because the fans think they're better than they are. But this is 2 years in a row, 17th and 16th. These players won't get us back up. This club is going to be in free fall if we don't find 3 wins. And I don't think we beat Fulham. I'll be honest. I think that when we play the likes of Palace, these teams will come to White Hart Lane and fancy it.
Yeah.
I truly believe they'll fancy playing against us. I'm worried, guys. I'm
Savva,
truly worried.
do you know what? In this one's personal opinion, do you know what I think the biggest problem is if we go down? I don't think it's a money problem. I mean, the stadium, that gets covered from outside what happens because Levy did rake up a good deal on that one, on the lack of that we actually have to pay that back. The biggest problem will be if we go down will be the fans. The reason I say it'll be the fans is because I very much doubt they'll change much of the ticket prices by a higher percentage. There'll be more games than that, therefore.
Oh, they're putting them up,
and
Dan.
hang on,
They're
hang
putting
on,
them
John.
up.
Yeah,
They've
either way,
frozen-
whatever
Johnny,
they
they've frozen them.
hang on, whatever they do with it, yeah, whether they put the ticket prices up, whether they put it down 5%, whatever they do, this fan base will still fill out that stadium in the majority of games. And that is the problem we've had over the past 15 years where we really wanted to change, or so-called a lot of fans have wanted to change and done nothing about it. Where only 100 turn up at a protest and another 50,000, 55,000 walk past, give you a thumbs up or a dirty look like, what you doing, you idiot, sort of thing. Spurs fans as a whole, the community, whatever you want me to call them, and I'll just put it as blunt as, are thick enough, stupid enough to still go and buy the season tickets and still go to the games. Yes, I want to support my club and everything else. I totally understand that side. But in that aspect, you're not giving the owners any fear factor whatsoever. Because for the first 2 years, if they come down, I don't think they're going to be losing out on much money overall, apart from sponsors, which will be a big smack in the teeth, but it won't be the end of the world for them. It won't stop them paying back the stadium or nothing. It won't put them in debt or nothing. The money you get with going down is actually better than the money you get with staying up, for God's sake. And in that aspect, where the fan base will still fill that stadium up, they will still go there and drink all their beer. They will still go and buy all their food there. They will still go in the shop outside and pay a shitload of money in there. I think it'll be the fans that are the biggest problem.
I think they're going to put the price.
The fans not turn up, and then that would definitely damage them. But our fan base won't do that.
I think you'll find, Dan, that they're going to put the prices up because the board will work out there's 3 extra games. We can't be having that.
Johnny, they've already confirmed they're freezing seasons again.
Yeah,
I
but
know,
if
mate,
we
that's
go
before we
down,
get
that
relegated.
if we go down, it's different. I mean, the
If
one
they go down, they've got to put the prices down, not up.
Lubo.
No, don't, but this
Lubo.
is,
No,
this is
yeah,
Enoch, mate.
yeah,
3
yeah.
3 extra games. Prices go up.
Lubo.
And let me tell you, Lubo, just sorry, 1 minute, Dan,
Go
just
on,
one thing.
go on, John.
It was just to say that certain premium ticket prices have gone up. They have now done it. So in the section where I sit, if you were here and you were here, you all paid the price. same price, yeah, in this section. Now, if you're here, your price stays the same. If you're here, where I am, the price is going up.
And
Do you reckon that stadium would do you reckon that stadium would half empty out?
No, do you know what?
Absolutely. Of course it would.
One thing, Dan, at least
I don't think it would.
Dan, there's one positive if we go down to the championship. Yeah, at least we'll get the award for the longest bar in the championship.
Yeah.
At least that'll be.
We'll have the best stadium in the championship.
Yeah, we'll have the best stadium.
Training ground in the championship.
What it will be music to the ears of are fans of who are 100 or 120,000 in line to get a season ticket, who've waited all that time. They will suddenly become front row and centre, and they'll be offered season tickets in the championship for sure.
Look,
people are giving up their seats left, right, and centre next season.
Yeah,
they'll have to look. They'll have to put. I do agree with Lou, but I think they'll have to put the ticket prices down if we go down. But you know, as much as money isn't an issue, I was talking with Poch earlier about this. I think if you go down for 1 year and bounce straight back up, I don't think it hurts us. If you go down and you don't bounce back straight away,
that's where it kicks you.
The revenue goes, like, and this is a problem because we do have debt on the state. Like, we owe like 750 million or so.
675 million was refinanced at 2.75%.
It's a mortgage, and it's a very small price that we pay back for what we actually got. The reason I think we would still, the reason why I'm saying I'll lay money on it, that we would still fill that stadium up, because it'd be like everyone wants us to bounce back up straight away. Obviously, right now is the time to get behind the players and the club. I still think you would personally fill that stadium up more than you will see it at the moment with us playing absolute dog shit games. That is why I think it would still fill the stadium up. And that is why you could say on a mentally right side, that is the time when you do really have to get behind the team to get them back up. But that would also be the time.
Every week in the championship.
Maybe not every week, but I think we wouldn't have a problem filling majority of the stadium up for getting behind the team and everything, because they'd want they'd want that promotion straight away, basically. Yeah. That is why I think it would fill it up.
I
so
think
it wouldn't hurt the owners. It wouldn't hurt the owners.
Dan's
well, at least Archie Gray might look good in the championship, Dan. Archie Gray can
play right back. But listen, I think you'll find
he is dog shit.
I think you'll find the fact that you're winning every week. I think the fact that you're winning every week would entice people into the stadium first and foremost. And I remember when we got relegated, I went to every game home and away. And it was some of the best football time. It's hard to actually say that with a straight face, but there's some of my best ever football memories following Tottenham Hotspur was that season when we'd been relegated and we bounced back, even though we struggled to even get up.
Yeah. So in that aspect, where's it going to hurt the owners? Where's it going to hurt the owners if we go down?
Of course it will. Have you seen the
the revenue coming into the club will be nowhere near what it is now. So hang on,
when you go down,
sponsorships, right?
Yeah,
events,
I saw sponsorships earlier.
Everything.
Oh, events wouldn't have no effect.
Forget the events, Dan. Forget the events.
Wouldn't have no events.
Don't bring in. I think people are overestimating how much money is made from the events compared to being in the Premier League. If Spurs aren't in the Premier League, we're not getting Premier League sponsors, right? We'll have no Europe. You think if we go down, that's
the TV money where the biggest loss is.
Hang on, Dan.
Yeah,
that's over 100 million drop.
Hang on. You've got all the Champions League revenue or European revenue that you now won't have for a minimum of 2 years. So if we go down, you won't have Europe. Then you won't have Europe the next season even if you get promoted, right? Yeah. So that's 2 years of European money. That's 2 years of Premier League revenue that we won't have, right? The sponsors, you've got to remember, these corporate sponsors will have clauses in their contract as well, right? They won't just say, oh, let's just say their sponsorship was 10 million a year, just for example. They will have relegation clauses in their sponsorships. If Spurs go down, because now this isn't being marketed on the global stage, we'll pay you 2.5 million, whatever it is. It will hurt us drastically. I know everyone's saying if we go down, a reset, the owner. this
Mhm.
club might not survive going down. I genuinely don't think we understand
Pizza club.
how catastrophic.
I
it
agree.
would be.
I agree with the. I agree with the sponsors and everything. It wouldn't have no effect on the money we get outside in the stadium, and that they're not going to stop having boxing events and everything
No.
else there just because Spurs got relegated. But we all know the main money comes in off the football side. But we all know also we do get significantly more than any other club on the outside of that. But the sponsorships would definitely be the one that destroy us. I agreed with that earlier. That would
Where we'd make
absolutely
money,
bust
Dan,
us.
where we will make money, I don't know if you guys agree on this, is if we go down, think of how much money we will make from player sales compared to what we're paying out. You think Romero and Van der Ven between them is going to be what, 140 million? Right? Just for those two, maybe. Right? You've then got, well, how much money you're going to be able to sell Xavi Simons to somebody, right? For 40, 50 million. You're going to get 25, 30 million for Conor Gallagher. Dominic Solanke will get you 30 million. Pedro Porro will get you 30 million. What Spurs will make hundreds of millions in player sales, and then the players we'd have to bring in. You watch, Spurs would still go and make free transfers in the Championship.
You know.
Oh yeah. They won't make any transfers. They'll say we're going to use the youth and we're going to bring the youth through and all this.
Maybe
crap.
that's what we've been planning for all this time, Danny.
Yeah.
Maybe it's what we've been planning for. At least then Lubo gets to see Jamie Donnelly and Devine.
You get the 150 million drop as well, don't you? Which is actually more than staying up. But then with the sponsorships and the sponsorships and the TV rights, that would do us damage. But I reckon that is the one bit that would, to an extent, level it out. Where the first season we go down, it would hurt, but it wouldn't destroy us financially as much as it would other clubs as such. Because we do have that extra income, but it wouldn't mean we are automatically safe, not at all. But I do agree, it's the sponsorships that I think would absolutely do us most with the TV.
Massive.
But we do have that extra income that a lot of others don't. If we don't come straight back up, that will be a massive problem. But again,
Dan,
ticket prices and everything, all the fans will still be there to back the squad and everything when it would be the prime time to hurt the owners. But no, they will go there and still rescue them.
But
play Yang, they said.
As well, right? Every Championship team that comes to play Tottenham, it will be their biggest game of the season. They will want to get something because it's the day out at Spurs. And the problem we've got is if we were at White Hart Lane, you'd go, yeah, no one wants to go there and play us. Now it's, oh my God, you imagine, right? You imagine Wrexham fans, right? Wrexham fans, Preston fans coming from their little stadiums, having a day out at the Tottenham Hotspur Arena, if we ever call it anything, right? They're going to come to our ground and be like, this is the best day of our lives. But if we go down, we're in trouble. Honestly, I don't see us coming back up.
You know what makes me laugh? All this crying out of the fans. Yang should be given in. Yang should be put in the first team. He can't even start at Championship Coventry. I mean, like, honestly, it's fucking delusional.
Well, it's like the players we got playing at the moment, and some of them you can't really blame it because I don't usually use injuries as an excuse, whatever. But this time, you got to admit, injuries have busted us good and proper. It has been unlucky on the injury side of it, yeah. And where they're all different types of injuries, what bit do you focus on and that? But then some of the players we've got playing for us, you can see they're not even capable of Premiership level. I mean, Simons, I've got really big questions with. The skills there.
He hasn't said anything.
But until it comes to next season, if he's still there, I'm going to have to see a bit more of him to think he's even capable to play Premier League football. Because to me, more and more, he doesn't look like a Premier League player to me. He looks more like a La Liga player to me. He looks more like one that are playing Spain. He looks like one that can't handle the physical side and the pressure without having that extra bit of time on the ball. But then you've also got to feel for him in the aspect of when he did get the ball, if he didn't lose it, he looks around and there's nobody there either. So I've got questions about him, but I do agree with time to settle. And then you look at other players that you got, Tell, Gray. Them two aren't even good enough for Premier League standards. Them two would not get in any other Premier League club there and play consistent games because they're good enough. They would only get in those games because of the same way that they get in the Spurs game. And then you look at other ones we've got, our youth academy players. they're not even good enough, like you said, for Championship. So how are they going to get us out of it? It's going to be serious trouble with who we've got there to take the places, because our youth lot can't even get in Championship teams.
Oh, mate, Stel, welcome. I like the first person.
Afternoon,
Stel's
Stel.
delusional. He hasn't even said anything. He hasn't said a word. I love it.
I like the backdrop still.
Yes, it looks very chic. Like,
Yeah, nice.
you know,
I've
when
moved
people get
downstairs.
interviewed on like Netflix documentaries. Looks like,
Oh yeah, it's a Stelios documentary about his opinion on Spurs.
Stel, are we going
boxes
down?
everywhere? I'm leaving the country in 3 days. Thank God, I won't have to go to that stadium anymore. But that's why.
These
Stel,
Stelios.
are we going down? Are we getting
I hope
relegated?
so. I hope so. I want us to get relegated. I want Tottenham to go down now. I couldn't give a shit. I want pain and misery for this fan base because
We ain't got enough.
nah, clearly not, because no one wants to protest. Clearly not. You know. Listen, Savva, for me, the gloves are off. I'm not here to comfort individuals.
Sorry, when were they ever on with you? Stel? What are you talking about? The gloves? When were they ever on?
Well, I've not gone in as hard as I could have. I could have gone in a lot harder, but
This
you
is
know,
Triple X version still, right?
Yeah.
listen, fans don't want to hear it. I'll say it. For me, this fan base deserves nothing but relegation. It deserves it. And I hope it gets it, because at the end of the day, this ownership has done nothing but destroy this football club for the last 5-6 years. They've wrecked the football club. Transfers are disgusting. Scouting is disgusting. The hiring of managers is an abomination. The decisions they make are nothing short. They might as well just wear Arsenal shirts and sit on the board. I mean, Vinay's a gooner. Frank was a gooner, right? So we might as well just get gooners on the board. There's no difference. And this fan base has done absolutely nothing to challenge it. They've accepted it. They've tolerated it. They want to dance around the edges, write letters, send emails, tweet, put a rant on Facebook. Listen, we're a fan base without balls. We're a fan base without cojones. We deserve it. And I've just come to the conclusion, Savva, after yesterday's game. I sat there at the end of the game. Fans didn't boo. They weren't angry. They weren't chanting Lange out, Vinay out, Lewis out, Enoch out, nothing. They walked out calmly and got on with their day as if nothing had happened. The boozers were packed. They were laughing. The south stand was beers and pizzas flowing. Yeah, it's all right. It's only 4-1 to the Arsenal again. It's all right. And I thought, do you know what? You don't feel it, man. You don't feel it. We're numbless.
Were you there yesterday, Stel?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I just because when I came out from the East Stand, there was a lot of people like kicking off, and it was like there were a few Spurs fans arguing amongst themselves. And then when I came round the corner, there was Spurs fans like I was right in the midst of that, like Arsenal fans being protected by the Gooners, and it was like pretty sort of nasty. I didn't
Johnny,
hear anyone gloating though.
That's us fighting amongst ourselves. Why are we fighting with each other when the board up there?
Arsenal fans and them.
We always fight Arsenal fans on a match day. You always get these silly incidents, right? What I'm talking about is our fan base wants to fight the Gooners. We want to fight each other. We want to have arguments on YouTube. We want to argue on podcasts. We want to argue in the chat because everyone's a genius. I'm a genius. You're all geniuses. We're all geniuses. But the people upstairs, they get away with it. And what I know is going to happen, I know this is going to happen. If we stay up, this is exactly what's going to happen. They're going to come up with a new story, a new pitch. They're going to put it out there in the AGM. They're going to do another YouTube video and sell us another dream. We're all going to get sucked in and it's going to go out of control. And in 2 years' time, back to the same shit. Because this fan base is like a child that goes to bed. Mummy, Daddy, can you read me a story before I go to bed? Yeah, of course I can. There were 3 sheep and a goat. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you.
Hang on. Sorry, what story were you read as a kid? What's the story of 3
sheep and a goat?
My family come from a village.
It's a village, goats and chickens and right.
Yeah, I know the man and the goat. I know the story of the man and the goat, but I thought and the sheep.
Mate,
I thought that
goats,
was a Welsh story. I didn't know.
The
about
three sheep and the goat, and they make a halloumi, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, we love a bedtime story. Oh, we love a bedtime story because that's what we've become. Give us a story so we can get sucked in. This manager's going to do that, and this manager's going to do this, and this generational player that, and Vinay Enoch too. It's bollocks, man. So if we stay up, we're going to get a story and believe it. The only way anything at this club changes is relegation. It's the only way. We need devastation for this fan base to actually say, fuck.
But still, they will still go to the games. They will still fill up the stadium to back the squad to get promoted again.
Dan?
And that is the time you could really hit them. That is the time you could smash them.
Dan, the only way things change is if this ownership financially gets wrecked. And if we go down, they will get wrecked to enough of a degree that they now can't carry on the way they have. And this fan base isn't going to tolerate paying £75 for a home game against Oxford United. And I know that's a fact because if you look at the Europa Cup games, they've been forced to drop the prices because fans weren't prepared to pay £40 to watch us against Copenhagen. So
but for the
unless we are financially affected, the fan base won't wake up, the ownership won't wake up. Look, that's where I'm at, guys. And I never thought I'd say the day where I would come on the show and say, I now want us to get relegated because our fan base are cowards. They are chickens. And so is the ownership.
Just a couple of things on this, right? I was in the gym. I was listening to this, and there's some stuff going on that I think is hopium, even about us going down. That we will not build the state. There's a big reason they sacked Frank, and that's because fans stopped going. That's because lots of fans stopped going. Yeah, when the attendance drops below 50k, they start to get worried, right? And that's in the Premier League. And I'm sorry, but if anybody thinks we're going to go down, and then sell all our players who don't want to play for us anymore, and then win all of our games, so fans are just going to come because we'll be winning every week. I think that's for the birds, right? Because I watched the Championship. It's actually quite a good watch because you don't have VAR. You haven't got players diving around all over the place constantly. It's still half decent football, and it's actually quite enjoyable, right? But it's hard. It's not easy. And if we think we're going to go down and we're going to swan it, I think and if we think we're going to go down. And we're going to get 60,000 people, like Stell says, at 75 quid a pop. You got another thing coming. I've worked in finance all my life, all my career, and I'll tell you exactly what Enoch will do if we go down. I'll tell you exactly what they'll do. They'll cut their costs accordingly. That's what they'll do. Revenue will go down, and they'll go, right, we need to cut costs. That's what finance people do. Right, so your 30 people serving behind the bar, that will become 10, right? This is how they will reduce the service to reduce the amount of money they're spending because they're going to be getting less money. That is the way to work.
Do you think it would cut the stadium significantly on the amount of people that go there? Because I feel that the fans would still go there at the prices because that would be the time 100%. Where you have to back your club.
They're not paying these prices to watch us play championship teams. It's nonsense. Look at the FA Cup games.
If they cut it 10%.
Against lower opposition, they dropped the prices for the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup because we played lower level opposition.
If they cut it 10% still, cut it 10%, whatever.
Not
they
10%.
Still fill the stadium
not
up.
10%.
Whatever they cut it, they will still fill that stadium up. Because
don't say that though. Look at the Champions League games.
Dan, the problem with your
tourists will always go.
Dan, the problem
we don't have tourists anymore.
Sorry, guys. The problem with Dan's statement is that it's not happening now. We're not filling the stadium now
because we're not in that situation. So it won't be happening now, will it?
So we're going to fill it in the Championship, but we're not going to fill it in the Premier League.
Because of the situation and the way we're playing in the Premier League, people are showing that they don't want to see it. But I personally believe that if we go down, obviously they'll have to cut ticket prices. No
Dan,
two ways
sorry,
about
you're
it,
missing
yeah?
the point here. No, sorry, hold on 1 minute. Dan, you're missing the point here. Filling the stadium at £75 a ticket versus filling a stadium at £40 a ticket is a massive difference. You can fill it out for 10 quid a ticket. The point is the revenue will drop, the income will drop, the business valuation will drop, the share price will drop. This is the only language now ENIC will ever understand to fix this club or just sell up. And our
we already agreed on that.
Our fan base has accepted ENIC. They will not stand up against the owners. So therefore, if you don't want to stand up to ENIC, you have to accept Lange. You have to accept Vinay. You have to accept Archie Gray, Dragusin, Souza, and you have to accept the situation we're in. And everyone in the chat coming for me, come for me, because you're the cowards that moan about the ownership and do nothing about it. You're all cowards, every single one of you coming for me, all of you.
And still,
I actually agree with Still.
If we get relegated and they cut the ticket prices to whatever, that would be the prime time to hurt them big time and not go to the games more than anything. That would absolutely hurt the club.
It isn't going to hurt. It isn't going to hurt ENIC. The only thing
you will still get it filled up a majority of the way.
Wait a minute. It isn't going to hurt ENIC. Wait a minute. It isn't going to hurt ENIC. The only thing that's going to hurt is our football club. Because ENIC are businessmen. They're not going to sell at the bottom. Right? So anyone who thinks that we're going to get relegated, the share value is going to go down, and ENIC going to go, do you know what? We're not good enough for this. We need to sell up. Ain't going to happen. It's going to.
So if the fans didn't go to half the games, would it damage them? Would it damage them?
No.
I'm asking you a question.
No, they're massively damage them, Dan.
Exactly. But we will still go to the But we will still fill up that stadium even with lower ticket.
It doesn't matter if you fill it up if you're paying peanuts to be there, Dan.
But we can hurt them even more. That is the time we can't.
Do you want an empty stadium paying £75, or do you want a full stadium paying £45-50? Right? Listen, I do think. Look, what Rain is basically saying is absolutely spot on. The fact of the matter is, a £3.5 billion valuation on this club becomes a one billion if you're lucky. It's more like 500 million if you're lucky at a push valuation.
It's not. We got more in property than that.
Yeah, but it's all split up into various sections, James, right?
But you're still you're not going to sell your house. You're not going to sell your house for half the price because
James,
the neighbours are bad.
Selling it. If you listen to what Rain says, what he's basically saying is they ain't going to sell at that level, right? They are going to wait, and they were going to try and get back into the league before they ever attempt to sell it. So if you want ENIC to sell, the best thing to do is let them win, let them survive by the skin of their teeth, and then decide that this is a disaster, I need to get out, and sell at that point, not going down. Because if they go down, we ain't getting rid of them for another 3 or 4 years.
No.
John,
but it's with that, though.
Absolutely.
James, sorry. I think you guys misunderstood me a bit here. I want us to get relegated because it's only that kind of pain that's going to trigger change. The change doesn't necessarily mean ENIC selling. They're going to be forced to have a proper scouting system.
You mean the change in the opinion of the fans? That's what you mean, isn't it?
Danny, the fans, the way we operate. Because what's going to happen now? And I'm telling you all, clip this, Savva, clip it. You're going to make money off this clip.
Hang on.
He's going to rinse it.
Start again. Let me just. What time is it? 1 hour 43.
Is this bigger than Lubo's manifesto?
This makes Lubo's manifesto. I'm going to make his manifesto look like toilet paper.
Yeah, okay.
Right, no one
can try.
Let's still do this. I'm putting this out as a video. Go on, 1 hour.
I haven't got an uncensored hat like him. If we stay up, whoever's in charge of this club is going to put together the most magnificent of Disneyland scripts, and they're going to sell you this script. They're going to sell you this vision, and you're all going to get sucked in. And when it unravels, you're going to want it all out again, because this is what they do. They don't know how to change. They're not interested in change. They don't care about football. They don't care about winning. They just care about money. And that means, what script do I sell to you customers to keep you on board? and they're going to come up with a new one, and you bet Pochettino's part of that script. And when it unravels, we'll be back here again in 2 years' time.
Yep.
Don't let them write another script. But if we stay up, you're going to let them. That's the point I'm making.
Without the win, though, there is no money. So when to say they're not interested in winning, without winning, there is no money. So
but we don't win, Johnny. Johnny, we don't win. We don't win.
No, I know we're not winning, but to say they don't.
The problem is, Johnny. The problem is what they do.
A little bit.
I hear what you're saying,
Johnny. What they do is what they've always done over the years.
Make your money,
right?
Savva. That's on me.
What they do is they want to spend as minimum amount as possible, right? Yeah, they've tried to show this new kind of way of, oh, look, Tottenham spend money now. But what they do is they've done a really clever thing in the way that they've reduced the wage bill at the same time as increasing the actual revenue, the money that we actually spend on players, right? So over the last 5-6 years, they've been slowly reducing the wage bill. They'll still pay top dollar for players, but again, it's the players who are not worth that top dollar, and they're players that should never even be coming to Spurs in the first place, right? And the reason why they paid the top dollar is because they'll show the fans, and like you've heard it in the interviews from Daniel Levy in the past. Oh, look, we do spend money. All right, Mr. Daniel Levy, what about the wages? What are you paying them? 70 grand, 80 grand a week? Why aren't you going to get a 200 grand a week player who's a top player? That's the problem. This is the problem. And they sell this to the fans. Oh, yeah, we do spend money. But they never spend it in the right way. They always try to do the bare minimum to maximize the revenue they can generate. But the problem is that their plan of doing that and following what Levy was built over 20 years is failing massively because, like you said, Johnny, earlier on, Levy had ingrained himself so much into the club, right, that when he came out of it, he knew it was going to collapse. And on top of that, the guys who are running it, they've got no fucking clue what they're doing. So it's all a big fucking shit show. Everything. All of it. And Stel is right as well. I agree with him.
So can I just quickly ask, will QPR be a Category A London derby next season and stick it to?
Millwall, mate. Millwall.
Millwall going up.
There's not going to be A, B, or C. It's just going to be D, E, F, and then they're going to introduce G, F, and H.
Can I just say,
I think
have you seen this?
S tier. They'll introduce an S tier, and QPR will go into the S tier.
Yeah, I saw that, Johnny.
What's that?
Yeah.
Fucking laughing. Even the guy on the wheelchair left the stadium.
We got. By the way, can I say Zubimendi yesterday, just talking about football, was fucking class. Zubimendi yesterday, he danced rings
what
around
happens
us.
when you buy a ball-playing midfielder?
His name was unbelievable
guys,
as well.
The away games in the Premier League, there's a cap, right, of £30 a ticket, if I'm not wrong. Is that right?
Away games, yeah.
Away games, but there's no cap in the Championship. I'm pretty sure you can charge what you want in the Championship.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Find out
Music to Enix's ears. Like everyone coming to Spurs will be paying 75 quid.
Are we now finally starting to see the disaster of Lange and Paratici? Is Paratici finally going to start getting criticised for this now?
Oh, yeah. I never liked him in the first. He was a fucking. I don't even.
He done wonders for the youth. Fantastic. For the first team, I mean, people like to list off the players he signed. I mean, Papi Sarr. Wow, I've never seen a worse footballer at Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think the guy can't control the ball. The guy can't pass the ball. He's got an okay shot when he gets in that sort of position. For me, these guys are getting away with just murder, and I think that's more my criticism of the board than anything else. Not even the players that they brought in. The players that they brought in to buy the players.
He's been gone 2 years, they brought in, James. He's been gone 2 years, more or less, 18 months.
Well, you say that though, but when you kind of bring up a Xavi or someone like that, they go, "Oh yeah, but Paratici was still at the club." A lot of people kind of tend to kind of have their fingers in the pies, like, yeah, he's been gone 2 years, but he's working in the background. We all know he's been working in the background, so they kind of criticise Lange and give him praise.
And not listen.
For me,
and not listen, James. And not listen. I hear you.
For me, Paratici and Lange both are the worst footballing directors I think I've ever seen at this club. I really do. I don't think I've seen it worse than them too.
James, they built this squad between them. They put
yeah,
show together.
Absolutely.
Both of them.
I don't think you can name one player for me that deserves a resale. After yesterday, I don't know if you've seen the clips where the manager is screaming at Van der Ven, push up, push up, push up. He looks at him, shakes his head, and then stands where he is. He's like, nah, mate, I'm staying here. He's actually saying, it's like, push up. He turns, looks at him. He's like, push up. He goes, nah, and then stands still. And I'm like, mate, you are the first person.
Yeah.
The attitude stinks. For me, Archie Gray, he ain't even a championship footballer. Papa Sarr ain't even a championship footballer.
No.
His attitude stinks. Romero's attitude stinks. Spence, for me, has 2 good games, 7 bad games. The front line is dreadful. I mean, even yesterday, Kolo Muani, you're right, give him praise, but his touch is dreadful. I think there was one moment Javi Simmons diverted and come inside the pitch, and it was a perfect run. All he had to do was overlap into the space, and he stands still, and you're like, that attack's gone. You just think, for me, look, there's 2 or 3 players I'd keep in this squad as a whole. Maddison, if he's fit, Kudos, Xavi.
Yeah.
I would keep Polina. Other than that, I don't think a single player in this squad is worth anything. And that, for me, is all on Lange and Paratici. All of it.
All right. And do you think Xavi was good yesterday? What do you think of Xavi yesterday?
No, yeah, but I agree. But when you're playing with that team, are you expecting any other?
No, but hang on.
No, but hang on. That's one.
He had no supporting play. He had no
He
supporting
still
play.
got to show up, right? Simple
I
passes.
agree.
And he left Jed Spence on his own countless times on that side, right?
Yeah,
he never tracked back. He was absolutely awful. My kids were giving me a hard time because I said he was poor, but they failed to understand that I also said Conor Gallagher was poor, Bissouma was poor, and I actually made the mistake, as I said at the beginning of the show, which you might have missed, that by mistake I said that Dragusin had a good first half, but I failed to caveat that by saying that he was absolutely shambolic in the second.
I actually thought Bissouma was really good yesterday. I actually thought that was somebody that was doing everything he physically could
in the first
to
half,
progress the ball and try and make a statement. He was the only one for me that was trying to make a statement, and I've criticised him massively. But for me, he was the only one that actually thought, you know what, I don't want to lose this. When I was looking at that game, I thought, yeah, you don't want to lose this. Other than that, and that for me is why is why you have to look at Paratici and Lange. Don't get me wrong, the owners are in the top priority because they hired these guys. I get that. They should be nowhere near this football club. But when you bring in people, in my opinion, that have no idea how to build a football squad, you're going to get the products of what you've paid for, right?
James, do you not put any blame at all on the manager for yesterday? Because I do.
No, I don't. I said personally. Okay, let me answer that first. Well, I said no because I've seen the same performances time and time again. If he would have went 4 at the back, people would have complained, why have you done that? Why are you playing wingers? We have no wingers. Why are we playing 3 up front? We have no wingers. We're playing tell. It's a lose from now on. That's why I said, I don't know if you remember, Savva. I think I even said on your channel, I wouldn't bring a new manager in until after that Arsenal game. Regardless of coming, you was going to get absolutely cracked that game, regardless. So for me, I would have just read that and say, look, here we go. We're going to take a beating. It doesn't matter. Have whoever. And then I go, right, new manager. Let's go. These are winnable games. That's for me how I would have.
Mate, Tudor's lost the dressing room already.
Can I tell you why I disagree with that? Right, there's a lot there I want to dissect. Right, for me, first of all, if you didn't sack Frank, it would have been toxic as hell yesterday. There was no booze, there was nothing. It was just apathy. Let's just walk out quietly. So at least there was some civilness to some degree at the end of the game. If there was Frank there, it would have been World War III. So they had to get rid of him. With regarding the manager, I did not like the appointment from the off. And my biggest concern, and I said it on Thursday night on the Spurs 5, if he goes to a back 3, we're getting battered. And the reason I said that was because putting Paulinho in that 3 is suicide because you've taken your best midfielder out of a midfield that we're already up against. You cannot take Paulinho out of that midfield, and he did it. He also allowed the flanks to be opened up, which meant Spence got doubled up on, and there was no one recovering to support Spence.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Before you move on, can I just answer that, though?
1 second. To play long balls throughout the game to a solo striker up against 2 centre-backs, that is basic grassroots under.
I thought he'd done well still. I actually thought, I know you're not a fan of Muani.
No, Johnny. Muani
did well yesterday.
That's not my point. Yeah. I thought Muani did well yesterday. I agree. But you don't send long balls to a striker when he's up against two centre-backs. And not just two centre-backs, two proper centre-backs. And what does he do during the game? This idiot manager. The only guy that looked like scoring, you come off, and pigeon fuckface, you come on. What are you doing? He was the only guy that was going to score for us. You took him off for Richarlison. Mate, every decision Tudor made yesterday, to me, says he is no different to Frank. In fact, I think he's worse. I thought Tudor yesterday.
I think that's harsh. I think that's harsh.
No, listen, we could have lost yesterday regardless of the manager. The way he set us up, the way he allowed Arsenal to get into spaces that he could have shut down, and the decisions he made regarding players at times, I thought was diabolical. And I'm saying it for what it is.
Okay, so let me answer that part.
If we'd
Can
have
I answer that one part? Let me answer that one part, because obviously you said what you thought there. If a manager comes in and he believes that these tactics and his philosophy are going to get him keep us up or whatever the plan is, you don't come in and change all your ideas to suit one game. Because for all we know, Danso might be back next week, or Porro might be back in a week or so. So if he's kind of coming to say, right, this is the way we're going to play.
James, you need to win points, mate. You need points each game. You've got to.
You're not going to win. Still, I'm sorry, you're not going to win against Arsenal. We're not even
here for philosophy. He's not here for philosophy. He's here because he's a relegation survival expert. His job is to get points. That's why he came in, James.
But you're not going to get points against Arsenal regardless.
Exactly.
Wolves did. Wolverhampton did.
Yeah, but that's one. I hear this a lot. It's one game. Arsenal
won 2 games in 7.
On that game.
They won 2 in 7 games.
It's a London derby. It's completely different. No, I do want to hear it, but it's a completely different mentality. A rival of a London derby to Wolves away for Arsenal midweek is a completely different game.
Can you imagine Ange in that
right
situation?
now,
I'm not being funny, but everyone's going on. The amount of comments I said, Ange would never have done this, should have brought Ange back. If Ange had been in charge of that squad that we had put out yesterday, it would have been 7 or 8 because he would have been going gung ho.
I'm talking about Tudor. Forget Ange.
No,
forget
I'm not talking about you, Stel. I'm talking about.
I'm talking about Tudor though.
Yeah, but surely we are looking at the bigger picture here, though. Surely we're thinking, right? If 3 come, say for example, the next game, just hypothetical, because no one actually knows. The next game, Danso and Porro are back. Just for example. You then, right, we've had a game, right, we see this work, that didn't work, right, now we've got a flat back 3. Now we've got Spence one side, Porro the other side. Right, now we've got a flat back 5, that's where we want to build on. For me, I know he's not here long term, but at the same time, this is why I said you don't bring him in before Arsenal. Unfortunately, that game you got to ride out and you bring him out in a clean slate, in my opinion. For me, you don't. If his philosophy is 3 or 5 at the back, you don't then change that for one game to suit and then go back in, because the players are going to be like, hold on, we meant to believe in this. You've already changed it 3 days into it, and now 3 days after you're changing it again. Like, that's the whole point.
Nottingham Forest have just changed their manager. They brought in a manager that's proven to keep another team in the Premier League up. He comes in, he goes away and gets an unbelievable result against Fenerbahce, and then he gives Liverpool a game and a half.
Tudor, though? Still, how are we blaming?
No, you're too scared to blame him. You're too scared.
Why are we blaming an interim that's coming in his first game? That's so
because he was awful. Because he was awful.
So that I don't know if you've seen that clip where he points to Van der Ven. Have you seen that and tells him to push up?
It's not
about him, shake his hand.
Can I respond to what you said now?
So you're blaming.
Can I?
What?
Brother, 1 second, yeah, bro. 1 second, yeah. Please, let me just say this, yeah. I don't think you can sit here and, by the way, big up to everyone in the chat, of course. It's good to see you all again. Hope you're all well. I think, yeah, it's a very, very low blow to go for Tudor, because the reality is these players could have Jesus Christ managing them.
Yep.
They would have still lost yesterday.
Yep.
Now, you can argue he set us up poorly. I think he set us up in a way that in the only way I can even see the players that we have available being set up in. If we set up in a back 4 and try and take the game to Arsenal, we lose regardless. If we sit in and wait, we lose the game. But yesterday, the result was written on the wall from weeks in advance. The real problem here, which we can all agree on, is that this season, the club was set up poorly. The team was set up poorly. In January, we had 13 players unavailable, and instead of going out and bringing 3 or 4 or even 5 players to come and help with the squad depth, What did they do? They brought in Gallagher and a fullback that hasn't touched a blade of grass since he's been here.
But
Apart from the 10 minutes
praised the
against
Gallagher
United away,
signing.
which I went to. So
He
we can
played his
sit here
first
and
game,
blame,
Jay.
we can blame
Everyone
Igor
played the
Tudor,
Gallagher
and I
signing.
agree. I agree with you. Maybe he should have got. Maybe he should have tried to. You're talking about closing spaces. He's not on the pitch. If you're a professional footballer getting paid millions of pounds a year, you should be able to use the two big eyeballs on your head to look and close down space. That is not on your manager. If you set up in a back
He surrendered
three,
the space with his
if you
tactics.
set up in
No,
a back
Jay, he
three,
surrendered
you're
the
set up
space.
to close the space regardless.
No, he didn't.
So how are we in a back three and players are wandering off? Jed Spence, is it Tudor's fault that Jed Spence gives the ball away every time?
No,
instead of
it's
just
his
playing
fault
the
that Jed
pass?
Spence was overloaded.
Is that-
2-on-1.
He was
Sorry.
overloaded, Jay. With respect,
that was
he
Tudor's fault.
completely overloaded.
It was Tudor's
Simmons
fault that
never
happened.
tracked back. They doubled up on him. I've got to
Can
go,
I just
guys.
say one? See you later, Jay.
Johnny.
Pleasure to
Johnny,
see you
see you
all,
later.
guys.
you,
Good
Johnny.
luck.
Hey, Johnny.
Can I just say something?
Keep the positive vibes going,
Yes,
guys.
we're
Keep the
staying up.
positive-
If not, we're going to win the championship. Don't worry,
Love you
Johnny.
all.
We're
See
going to
you
win the
In
later.
title.
Richarlison, we trust.
Yeah.
Can I
Tell
just say-
Richarlison.
I'm with Jay on this, right? As someone all season who doesn't rate these players, all I've heard all year is if we play a back four, people complain it's not a back three. When we play a back three, they want a back four. If we go two up top, they want one up top. If this player plays, they want that player to play. I don't think it matters what formation these players play. I think we're looking so deep into this tactically. This is a really bad set of footballers. The fact that people like Wayne Rooney are coming out and saying Forest squad is superior to Tottenham's tells you everything you need to know about what's put together. Right?
100%.
I don't want to do an I told you so, but I'm going to do an I told you so. I don't rate these players. I never rated these players. In the summer, I said we had a negligent transfer window. I said we have not addressed the goals. We have not addressed the creativity. We didn't buy a ball-playing midfielder. We didn't buy a left winger. We haven't bought... There's no proper fullbacks in this football club per se. They're all wing-backs, right?
Yeah.
Spurs have made bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. We can blame Frank. We can blame Ange. We can blame Tudor. We can blame Jose. We can blame Conte. This squad has not been built for any particular style of play, for any particular set of tactics. And what we'll do is we'll go into the next game, right? If he plays a back four, we'll say he should have played a back three. If he plays a back three, we'll say he should have played a back four. These players are shit. I don't care what anyone says. These players are not good enough. And all year I've had to sit on YouTube and hear they're better than what they're showing.
Yep.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you something.
Well, they showed
From
us
the
last season that they're not, though, Savva. They showed us last season that
Right.
they're not because they finished
Jay,
17th.
So
Yeah,
why
but
sack the
Jay-
manager then?
Hang on. Since the 23rd,
Because
right?
the players are the problem.
Exactly. Since the 1st of February, 2023. Bearing in mind, we're now in 2026. We have averaged 15th in the league, right? People need to stop pretending these players are better than they are. This is now 3 different managers, right? Different directors of football, but mostly the same players for 3 calendar years that are 15th averaged in the league. Why? I fail to believe. Listen, I didn't rate Ange, right? I didn't rate
None of us.
Ange.
We
I
all wanted him
fail to
out.
believe that Ange, Frank, and Tudor are that shit that these players are just not playing for them. This is
Savva.
3 calendar. Let me vent. I've been.
Yeah.
It's 3 calendar years. But all I hear is they're better than what we're seeing. Based on what? When has anyone ever seen Richarlison and Solanke do anything? When has anyone seen Tell, Odegaard, Sarr? When has anyone seen Basuma do anything for the last 4 years? When's anyone seen Gray, Radu Dragusin, Spence, Porro, Adogi? When has anyone seen these players do fucking anything? But yet every single tactic, every game, they're better than they're showing. Why can't we admit it to ourselves? And sorry that I'm venting, guys. Why can we not admit this is years and years of neglect, buying shit players, you turn shit. We have bought shit after shit after shit, right? We can blame one player, we can blame one manager, we can blame director of football. This has been years of putting together a crap squad, right? We don't have fullbacks, so we can't play a back four. We don't have wingers, so we can't play a back four. We don't really have proper wing backs or centre backs to play a back three. We don't have a ball playing midfielder, and then people wonder why we can't keep possession of the football. We've got no creativity, and everyone said, and this isn't about Frank, but everyone said Frank needs to let them off the leash. What does that mean? These players are not creative. They are not goal scorers. I'm so sick that we can't just be honest as to how shit this squad is. This squad is not better than Crystal Palace anymore. This is not better than Fulham anymore. This is not a good squad of footballers. Please, can we stop pretending it is? Every time we play, sorry, I'm venting, guys. I am angry, right? Every time we play a Palace or a Brentford or a Bournemouth, I hear, but it's only Brentford, it's only Bournemouth, it's only Palace. These clubs for 3 years have averaged higher than us for 3 years. Why? It's not just Ange, it's not just Frank, it's not just Tudor. The players aren't good enough, but we don't believe it because it doesn't suit agendas and narratives.
No, it's not agendas and narratives. It's not. The managers are shit as well, Savva. We've hired shit.
It's all of it. It's everything.
We've hired shit managers.
We've had managers from here
I'll go
to
back to the beginning of that rant. When have these players that everyone keeps saying will be better under a different manager, when have they ever shown they're better under any manager?
It's consistency is the problem, Savva. It's the consistency that is the issue with these players. We have all seen, I mean, we're very limited at the moment, yeah? But we have all seen these players play significantly better than what they did yesterday and other games. But it's the consistency when we go and do Dortmund, when we go and do Dortmund, when we go and do City, when we do a comeback off City. But it's the consistency that is the biggest problem with these players more than anything, I think.
Because
it's the out-and-out consistency. I'm just telling you, it's the consistency. They show a bit of capability here and there, but when it comes down to the crunch, exactly, when it comes down to
every crap player can have a good game.
We finish sec. They have not got the consistency in the quality to keep this going. I'm agreeing with you, basically. We've seen them have moments and we've seen them play better.
I disagree because they are consistently shit. They're consistently shit and they have one good game here or there. There's a difference. For me, me and you spoke ages ago, Stel. I think it was like one of the first shows we ever did. I said to you, this front line is championship. That was years ago. I said, this is a championship front line. Now it's worse. It's actually worse.
Yeah,
it's actually worse. Exactly. So what you expect? Look, from an attacking point of view, the only thing I don't get is from an attacking point of view. For me, I don't get what anyone else can do. For me, I think I was really harsh on Frank. Now seeing things.
Oh, really?
I think we've got a team. I've said that the whole time. I think we've got a team. When we're fully fit, when we're fully fit, I think we've got a team of defenders or a team that could score goals. And I think Ange picked his bed to lie in, and it was like, right, I'm going to put 10 men up front to try and score goals. And I think the other people like Frank or Conte would put 10 men behind to stop conceding goals. I don't think you can do both.
James.
But you know what's funny though? We've had so many different styles of management. These players have had 3 different archetypes of football. They've had 3 different ideologies to go off of. They've had the all-out attack. They've had the balanced side of Thomas Frank, even though it really wasn't balanced. It was just defensive. It was defensive. But they've had the balanced side, and now they've experienced Igor Tudor. But James, hold on, guys. People come on my channel and say to me, "Oh, they just haven't reached their ceiling." There's no ceiling for them to reach. They're shit.
So James, based on that, hold on, James. Based on that, then. So what's the common denominator?
Look,
right?
The people at the top, which is what we all agree on, which is why I'm not going to sit here and call out Tudor for losing 4-1 in the derby. When the last manager we had also lost 4-1 in the derby. Wait, and then the manager before that
they're both
was
shit
3-2 at home in the derby.
They're both shit. They're both shit managers.
All 3 of them are shit managers.
What do you mean 3? What do you mean 3?
So then Jose's shit too. Conte's shit.
Ange never got slapped by Arsenal.
So we didn't lose 3-2.
He lost
at home
22
to
league
Arsenal.
games.
No, talking about Arsenal, because you just
So we didn't lose 3-2 we didn't lose 3-2 at home to Arsenal.
3-2 is not a spanking,
They weren't
bro.
3-0 up in 45 minutes, nah.
And we
Yeah, do you remember that? Yeah, 3-0.
That didn't happen. No.
What, and we didn't claw it back.
Me and you went on an Angepostecoglou
comeback. Just talk about the 3-0, not the comeback. Where was the comeback to Frank?
What comeback? We lost the game. We didn't come back. We lost the game.
You're cherry picking moments.
I'm not.
He's not.
I'm talking about. I'm talking about
Tudor hasn't managed against any other team apart from Arsenal.
He's a relegation
The
survivor.
last 3 managers' results against Arsenal. 4-1,
Tudor has had 13 jobs in 8 years.
So how on earth can we blame Tudor for losing?
He's had 13 jobs in 8 years. He's had more jobs than Ryan Mason.
And we've had 7 managers in 6 years, bro.
Yeah. And there you go.
What's the point?
And there you go. So I came on and I ranted about Enoch. I said Enoch are the problem. It's the first thing I said.
I just think it's a low blow to go for Tudor, bro. He's been here for a week and a half.
This is what people said about Frank after the Super Cup. When he lost that Super Cup,
I didn't say that.
This guy's a loser.
See, that's the thing.
I got called out for that. 6 months later,
I said it weren't good enough. I said losing that Super Cup has bent our season backwards.
But again, have you noticed, guys? But again, we're doing this thing again.
I think Tudor's a crap manager, guys.
Or don't like. We keep talking about managers. These players get a free pass every single fucking week.
That's what I was just about to say.
This is what I've been saying for months.
I said keep Conte. I said keep Mourinho. I said keep Ange.
Johan Lang, right? We're not going to talk about him too much, but he comes out, right, in his statement the other day, and he's talking about we want to be a team that dominates possession, keeps the ball, right? Dictates games.
Talking shit.
Guys, we don't buy players that dominate possession and dictate games, right? And this is the problem. You look at this. I've heard all of this under, Ange and Frank, and it will happen with Tudor. We don't dominate games. We give the ball away. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because all we buy in midfield is runners. We're not buying footballers, right? We would expect Poch to come back in, right? For example, Poch had Moussa Dembele, right? Harry Redknapp had Luka Modric. These people sat in midfield and ran games of football. We had Tommy Huddleston. I know he couldn't run, but what a passer of the ball. We're now watching Sarr and Basuma in central midfield, or Bentancur and Paulinho, or Graham Bergvall, or Conor Gallagher. None of these guys control games of football, right? None of the wingers we have control games of football from out wide or put their foot on it like a Jack Grealish does and bring others into the game. And yet every time we play, we sit and go, I can't believe we're not attacking well. What do you mean you can't believe we're not attacking well? We sold all of our goals last summer, didn't replace them. We've sold all of our ball-playing midfielders over the years and not replaced them. I don't understand how we're not... Listen.
Do you think...
Hang on. Sorry, Jake. I like Gallagher, but you've got to put Conor Gallagher in a team where somebody next to him controls the game.
We can't rely on him. Yeah, you're right. You can't.
Gallagher is a box-to-box number 8. And when he was at Chelsea, right, when he had his best years at Chelsea, they sat him in front of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. They did all the controlling of the game, all the doggy work, and Gallagher was allowed to just back and forth. You can't drop Conor Gallagher into a shit show like this and go, oh, he's shit. But he's not shit, is he? He's played for England, captain Chelsea and Atletico Madrid, right? but again, my point in all this is we can say the managers are shit, and I've got no problem with people calling Frank shit or Ange shit or Tudor shit. I don't care about that. But do you really think if we drop Pep Guardiola into this squad right now that suddenly we're going to play football and win games? I don't think we do. This is a shit group of players.
I was listening to everybody talk about this period under Conte, this period under Ange. Like, you have to realise what has actually been the problem. The problem has been that we don't build squads, right? So Conte, what was Conte's problem? He didn't have defenders, right? And so our players naturally sat back. We hit on the counter attack. Our strength was in attack because we still had Kane. We had an on-form Sonny, and we could hit players on the break. We brought Ange in. What was our problem with Ange? We didn't have a midfield, right? So we've just got run through. We had an attack. We had a kind of defense. So we just used to play basketball, football, and now we're seeing the consequence of, like Savva says, no attack and barely a midfield. Right? Everybody always focuses on individual players. Oh, but we've got Mickey van der Ven. Oh, but we've got Romero. Let's just say. Oh, but Xavi is supposed to be this. It's not about players. It's about a squad. It's about a balanced team. Why are Sunderland better than us this year? Is it because all of their players are better than our players? No.
Because they built a team.
Because they've got a team. They've got a squad that works. They've got wingers who know how to play. Who know how to play as a winger. They've got right backs. They've got right backs who aren't 19 years old and have played centre back, centre midfield, 8, 6, 2. But for the last
Ray,
season,
we know why. Ray, we know why. This has been going on 25 years. No one's interested in the football. They're not interested in the football. They're interested in making profits. If they were seriously interested in running this football club, like a football club, and not like an entertainment.
So we're a sports entertainment service.
Can I just have my say on Tudor quickly? Because still, I think it's a big shout to blame him, right? I was listening, and just hear me out, and I'll tell you why. I don't think you're going to dislike it. I listened to his press conference, and I thought, mate, you have done no research on this club. You have come in, and you're talking about these players. Conte was saying what you're saying about these players. 3 or 4 years ago, Conte was saying what you're saying about these players. And actually, a lot of them were different players, right? So we've had successive managers saying the same things about the players who we're recruiting. Why is that? It's because of the profile of the players that we're recruiting. He's come in, and I think he's saying all the right things, but he's deluded. I think he's absolutely deluded. He has no idea. He has no idea what he's let himself in for.
And the truth is, Rain, no manager can manage this. No manager.
I agree with Stel. I think he is. I don't think he's a good manager. There's a reason. I mean, you can.
Why do you argue with me for 10 minutes?
No, wait, hold on.
I'm getting alerts from my health device. I'm getting alerts.
I didn't want him to come to the football club, Stel. I agree with you. I don't think he's a good manager.
This is what I'm saying.
After what?
I rather would have had Frank, to be honest.
If you let me finish, then you might understand what I'm saying. Just saying it. Just a suggestion, though. I'm not saying he's a good manager. I'm just simply saying, after watching these players for 20, how many games we played this season? 20 odd games. After watching 20 odd games this season, watching these players, some of these players have been here for 3, 4, 5 seasons now. I am just of the belief, that you could put the biggest miracle worker, Jesus Christ, in this team, and it will not save us, bro. And I'm actually of the point now where maybe if we get relegated, everyone will leave and we can just reset as a football club. Just get promoted again and start again. Now, obviously, I know that won't happen. If we get relegated, we're not coming back up. I can tell you that for free.
We'll just get worse players. We'll just get worse players.
We're not built for it. But the reality is, we're trying to operate like a club that we're not. If we just, scrap the top 6, scrap the top 5, scrap all of it. We are Tottenham Hotspur. We're just a Premier League club. If we just go back and think like this and start operating like this, maybe things will be different. Because I'm sick and tired of believing my club should be pushing for Europe, but we're signing mid-table players. We should be pushing to
we're not signing mid-table players.
Our local rivals have spent the same amount of money in us in the last 7 years, and they're at the top of the table, and we're at the bottom. Work that out.
For me, from my point of view, I don't think it's about. Don't get me wrong, the quality of player we brought in, but I think these players could do a job in a certain system, but together you've got everybody pulling in a different direction.
Now, what is that system? Because we've seen 3 different systems. Please tell me what the system is.
Okay, you just asked everybody to listen. You just asked everybody to listen, and then I start talking, and you start talking. So be fair, So I'll tell you. So Van der Ven suits for me an Ange type system. High line, running back, making an interceptive tackle. That's for me. That's where I think he's best. Technically, as a defender, man v man, I think he's awful. I really do. I think Van der Ven, defensively, as a one-on-one defender, is awful. So he fits for me an Ange Postecoglou system. Brendan Johnson fits an Ange Postecoglou system. Just arrive at the back post, four across the ball, but yeah, that kind of player. If you was to have a three at the back, a Conte system, I think Romero then suits that because he's allowed to push on and play from the back. I think Pape Sarr would work as a defensive team, bringing him on for the last 10 minutes. But the problem is you have people like that, and then you have a James Maddison, then you have a Xavi, and then you have Kolo Muani. Kolo Muani needs to play in a 2 with wingers for me. We're never going to play that. So we've got one player that wants to play one position, one that can play in one system, one can play in the other system. I think none of them are good enough.
Poorly then? That's my question. Just a question to you. Do you agree that the team's been assembled poorly then, would you say?
Well, first of all, I think everybody in the squad isn't good enough. So first of all, I don't think any of these players, like I said, I think there's 3 players.
But the profiles are wrong. Do you think the profiles then are there's too many different profiles for anything to gel to look fluid? Is that what you're saying?
I just think when you go through the amount of managers that we've had, and then you bring in one player for one, and then you stack him and bring 2 for another, stack him and bring 2 for another. Eventually, you just come up with a jumble of nothing, and then try to make this nothing fit into one system. You'll see now, Kolo Muani will go, I prefer this system, my game will raise. But in doing so, Xavi will be asked to do more defending. So his game will go down. Or you will actually ask Van de Ven to defend. His game will go down. So it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, Archie Gray is so bad. But yet, we'll put him right back. We'll put him midfield. I said the same for Bergvall. I said the same for Pape Sarr. They are so bad. And none of them fit in any system. So when you've got a team of 15 players or 13 players all pulling in different directions, it doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter who you bring in, unless you've got a fan base that's going to say, you know what, there's 5 years here. I don't care what happens for 5 years or 3 years, whatever. We need a manager in. We need 10 transfer windows and a guy pulling all in the same direction. Nothing is going to work.
So,
and in doing so,
you think that it's fair for me to say then we genuinely, I don't want to get relegated, guys. I'm sorry, I really don't. But the only way I can't see, the only way some of these play, they're on too much money, and it's crazy because we still look at wages. We don't even pay wages.
Yeah, but that's football overall, Jay, mate. That's just football.
These players are comfortable. We're not going to be able to get rid of some of these players, which is why
my opinion, the only way this actually works, if we stay up, the only way this works is if Pochettino comes in. I actually don't think he's the right guy for the job. I really don't. But I think he's the only man that people will say, 2 years' time, I can see us playing better football. So they'll give him bare minimum of 2 years. Whether
they're giving that extra time, basically, James.
Whether the board back him or not,
their sleeve, innit, to shut the fans up, innit?
Guys,
it's the only thing.
James, can I say about this? Can't blame managers, and it's just the players. I
am blaming managers as well. I'm doing all of it.
I have to disagree with this, that it's just the players, right? And I'll tell you why. Okay, maybe I've been taught badly. There's not a coaching course you go on at a higher level where they don't tell you you're not just going to get lots and lots of good players, because if that was the case, 90% of managers and coaches would have to retire, because the best players go to 10% of the clubs globally. So you've got to do something with what you've got. That doesn't mean you're going to qualify for Europe, win a trophy, because to get that bit higher up, you do need quality. Absolutely. Which is why I didn't expect to beat Arsenal, but I'm looking at how we set up. Let me just explain some things the way I see it. Van de Ven is a good defender. In my opinion, he's a good defender. Some might argue he's not. I think he's one of our better defenders. Dragusin at Genoa was a decent defender, but he always had a good 6 in front of him. He had Frendrup in front of him, who was a good destroyer. So if we're gonna play, let's put a 6 in front of them, because Arsenal had problems with Torreira in the 6. It wasn't until they brought in Partey, then they brought in even better with Rice, that it really solidified it. So for me, if you're gonna have 2 defenders there who are actual centre backs, you've got to have a proper 6 in front of them, which we have Paulinho. Then Basuma was a good player at Brighton, but what did he have? He always had a good 6 behind him, and Basuma pushed into the 8. So when I look at our players and I think, right, we've got an injury crisis, we've got some average players, we've got some all right players. These players, some of them were good at other clubs for periods, maybe not for a long time. What made them good? Even Moani, he played in the 3-5-2, 2 up top. So for me as a manager, I'd say, right, I'm going to go to a back 4. because the players I've got, I can't go to a back three.
Yeah,
I might
but in,
like James, hear me out. I might not like Sousa, but he's the only one I've got. You go wing back, Spence. You go the other side because that's all I've got. I'm gonna.
okay, let me answer that. Let me ask you one question on that. On that.
Come back to me in a minute. I'm going to play the 2 centre backs because that's all I've got. I'm going to play the 6 in front of them because that's how my defenders play better when there is a 6 in front. Basuma, you go into the 8 because at Brighton, you were good when you had a 6 behind you in the 8. And then up front, I'm going to go with 2 because Moani, do you know what? You actually got 16 goals when you played in the 2. Once you do that, if it still fails, then I will go only after the players and only after the recruitment team. But when I see managers not doing that, and when I see managers not trying that, I have to question the managers because in my head, it doesn't make sense what they're doing.
For 3 years straight still.
Yeah, but 2 seconds. 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Let me say this. Frank did that. No, Frank did that. Frank did that, and you wanted him out. He went with 2 strikers and 1 in behind. He went with a 2-2-2-2, and you still said he was crap.
When did he play Basuma in the 6?
Well, I can't remember the exact thing, but he went 2-2-2-2, and he played two set defensive midfielders, and he had Richarlison and Kolo up front. He had the 2-2-2-2 for slightly different players or whatever. You can only play what you have. Basuma was injured. Yeah, but Basuma was injured.
Basuma was available for 2 games under Frank.
Basuma was injured.
Yeah,
he was available for 2 games.
So in that game, you can't do it. I get it, but when
you wanted Frank out.
Yeah, because he was awful. We were defensive every game.
So what you just said when we try things like this, I will blame only the players. Frank tried something like that with what he had, and you still wanted him out.
Not what I described. He'd rather play Archie Gray a wing back than a wing back that we had. He'd rather drop Porro.
So yesterday's game, who do you play fullback? Who do you play on the wings? Like it doesn't make sense. There's nothing.
I would have played a 4-5-1 yesterday and crushed that midfield. We surrendered that midfield, and Arsenal dictated. Do you know what? It was all.
So who are you playing out wide?
Hang on. Sorry, I've got to ask it. Listen, I don't think anybody is saying still that managers can't take blame. Of course, we can all pick and, but the players are the one constant, right? And I'll be honest, still, I don't know what you're looking at in this squad where you think there's quality that I can't see.
Yeah,
I am looking at these players and going, I said this in the summer, by the way. This is not knee-jerk. I've said this all year. When in the summer I said, we're going to struggle to score goals and create, and everyone told me, Savva, you're being toxic and negative. This year has shown me that last year you had Maddison, Kulu, Son, and Solanke. They will grab you goals. This year you've had Solanke for like 4 games, right? None of the others are playing. There's no goals.
I agree.
But still, we've got no midfielders that can control a game, right?
Yep.
We've got no wingers of note. So where is this quality let me show, right? This is what I don't get. This was 3 games ago, by the way. So this is now 105 games, right? And 48 defeats. How at no stage are we going to turn around and go, yeah, these players aren't good?
I agree. The squad is not good enough. I've said it all year. I've said we're not good enough for top 6. We're not good enough for Europe. I've said it. I go on every show and I keep
top
saying
10
this.
still.
But for me,
we're not good enough for top 10.
But for me, I believe we are if we are set up properly with the balance of attack. Okay, we can disagree on it, guys. We can disagree on it. I'm happy to disagree.
I agree with you. When Maddison's fit, when Kulu's fit, when Kulu is fit, I agree with you.
Xavi Simons yesterday, he's on the ball and he's driving forward. And I'm thinking, right, we've got something here. And what I see is no one running to support. Now, you can blame the players for not running, but the job of the manager is to get them running. The job of the manager is to say, do you know what? I don't give a shit.
Oh, still, they don't listen to the players' instructions.
Then the manager hasn't got the respect of the players, Danny.
But these players don't respect any manager still.
I keep hearing this. I keep hearing that the managers...
Danny, players do respect managers if they are spoken to in the right way. In my opinion, Tudor came in and everyone was saying, "Oh, I like the way he talks. He's going to put a rocket up their ass." And I thought, a rocket up their ass? These players don't need a rocket up their ass.
So how many managers?
I can mic drop you, mate. On this,
just really quickly, Wayne. Just before I bring you in, just really quickly. Still, how many managers is it going to take? By the way, this isn't about Ange or Frank or Tudor. I don't give a shit, right? But how many managers do we need to see this under before we say this is not a good squad and we need?
It's not a good squad, Savva. I agree, guys. I agree. I'm not disagreeing. The squad is not good. I agree. What I'm saying though is, I've yet to see a manager do with this squad what I would do, and I know my way has got the best chance of getting something out of them. All I see managers come and do is stupid things. Like, who plays a back three when you've only got 2 centre-backs? Why the fuck would you do that?
So I agree with
that's
that.
on the manager.
But still, who goes and who goes and plays wingers with no wingers?
Then you don't play with wingers. You squeeze the midfield down. You suffocate the midfield.
We've seen.
I just think it's a lose-lose.
3 centre mids.
It is a lose-lose.
2 up top. Listen,
Frank
as
should
I
stay.
Let's say the
as I
manager.
said, I don't care who. I no longer care who manages this football club, whilst this group of players and these owners are here, right?
Yeah.
If Spurs want to go and bring in, I always use him as an example, just for example, guys. If Spurs want to go and give Ralph Rangnick 5 years as the director of football and say, Ralph, you're in charge of everything. You choose the manager. You choose the philosophy. You set the instructions. You choose the players. I will get back on board and care. But right now, we are sticking plasters over what needs surgery. And straight away,
needs a transplant, mate.
But when I looked at that team yesterday, first of all, I feel sorry for any manager because that's what we've left them with, right? Second of all, we've had a transfer window where we knew we had 13 first-team injuries, and our director of football is telling us that there's no one out there better than that 11 we saw yesterday. There was no one available better than those players. Third of all, some of these players are some of the worst players. I'm sorry, I'll say it. Vicario is one of the worst goalkeepers I've seen at Tottenham.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Can we talk about that?
Archie Gray,
James.
whoever scouted Archie Gray should be sacked
shit.
immediately and spent £5 million.
He's terrible.
Right?
Guys,
He's terrible.
Hang on.
Listen to what we're doing.
Who decided we need that profile of player, right? Matisse Tell, all of these types of footballers, Richarlison, Solanke, people will cherry pick which one they want to defend. There seems to be this little fan club, and I'm sure you agree with this still, right? There seems to be a little fan club for Bergvall. There's a little fan club for Gray. There's a little fan club for the Tells and for the Odebergs. None of these players should be at Tottenham Hotspur. None of these players should be at Tottenham Hotspur.
Savva, this is what drives me mad. This is what drives me mad. You've identified there's no ball-playing midfielder. You've identified there's no winger. You've also identified Vicario as shit. All the chat are saying the same thing. This is what I'm trying to say to you about coaching people in the chat, because you lot, I'm going to say it, you don't know what the fuck you're on about in the chat.
I don't think those players can be coached.
If you know Vicario is crap, why are we letting him take the goal kicks? Not one goal kick went over the halfway line. Stop letting him do it. You're the manager. Don't let him do that. Let Van der Ven take it.
That's true.
You know there's no midfield. Our midfield shit. So what Tudor did, and by the way, he's recognized that. Do you know how he's recognized it? Because he sends it long and bypasses the midfield. So if you're going to bypass the midfield, Tudor, which I agree with, why have you only got one up top against 2 centre-backs? These coaching decisions are ludicrous. Send it long. I agree, because we don't have ball players.
That was more the keeper still.
But
He didn't need to wait for players to get up there. That one was more keeper.
We never had more than one up top until the last minutes. He played one up top the whole game and he's sending it long. The manager was dumb. You can see Vicario's kicks were awful.
But in fairness, though, still, we come out and said that Dominic Solanke. Yeah, but because Dominic Solanke, they said wasn't fit. Richarlison's just coming back from an injury. We have no one else. And if we would have gone for a 2 up front, we would have played Dom. We would have played Dom or Richie. If we would have played Colo and Richie would have got injured. You would have gone. Yeah. Knew he wasn't fit. Why did he start?
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
we've got another injury.
No, Dan.
So you
no,
want to
because
back
on the
yourself
bench-
into a corner where you can physically
when
not be wrong.
you make shit up because you can't debunk my criticism of the manager's decisions. Any player that's on the bench, in my opinion, if you're on the bench, you're fit to play. End of. Otherwise, don't be on that bench. If you're on the bench, then you need to be ready to come on at any moment.
Solanke
Otherwise-
had a sore throat, guys. Come on.
Because, oh my God, do you know what? He had an itch on his left arse cheek.
So when I
I'm correct.
saw with my eyes, I saw with my eyes, and I heard with my ears, right? And we all saw it. And for some reason, people forget it. We saw a manager who nobody can say players don't listen to. His name is Jose Mourinho. We saw this manager with our eyes and heard with our ears. We saw him having a go at one of his players and laying down the law. And that player turned around to him and went, I'm going to go and speak to Daniel. That's the cultural problem at our club.
That is the biggest problem at our club. I'll have to agree with you
right,
with
Ray.
that one.
Right,
I'll have to agree with you on that one.
But Daniel's
This is
gone
where
now.
the club is
Still
too
there,
soft
yeah,
in
but-
that
yeah, but-
aspect.
The culture's still there.
That really important phrase. Take it. Everybody, take it away with you. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture will last a long
Basically,
time.
the DNA. The DNA is in it.
And it needs to be
Ripped out,
weeded.
yeah.
It needs to be weeded out over a long
It's true.
time.
And that's why it won't change
most
until
of these
Enoch
players
are gone.
that keep not taking blame are part of this culture over the last 4 or 5 years, right? So when you look at Romero comes out, right, and calls out the board, and people go, oh, fucking go on, Romero. But Romero is part of that culture that downs tools. He is part of that culture that treats the fans like shit, the managers like shit, but we praise it when he does something we like calling out the board. For me, most of this squad needs to go. It needs to be cold. It needs to be refreshed. And I'm sorry, I know Lubo gets really annoyed at me when I talk about it, but we keep buying kids. We're not even buying good ones, right? If you're going to go and buy 18, 19-year-olds, go and buy proper 18, 19-year-olds that are really good. Yeah. We keep buying poorly for the senior team and the youth players,
But
right?
the other side,
The whole thing is rotten from inside out. We can have a go at one manager, right? I truly believe you could bring in right now Pep Guardiola, who I think we can all agree is one of the greatest managers that's ever managed
they still wouldn't listen.
game. We could bring Pep in right now, and Pep's going to go, fucking hell. Oh, my God. Like, they can't pass to each other. He's going to be like, what? They can't attack. They can't cross. They can't. But we're going to keep blaming every manager. Now, if I was harsh on Ange, I've said it, I was harsh, right? If I was harsh on him. If people were harsh on Frank, fine, harsh on Frank. But we're doing it again. And what have they got up their sleeve? We all know what they've got up their sleeve.
Yeah.
They've got the Pochettino ace card up their sleeve because it will make people go, well, these players will play for Poch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Until they lose 4 or 5 games.
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
start throwing Poch under the bus and people will go, it's not the same
Exactly.
I mean, Savva, the other
It's a
issue
mess.
is the players we get in. Again, this fan base is so sentimental. It's comedy.
Oh, ridiculous.
Again, I don't give a shit about any of those players and what happens to them. The second I don't think they're good enough, they can go. I don't care if they've been here 10 years and been spectacular. If they're not good enough now, baked potato, see you later. Dog eat dog well. Do you know my opinion on that one? But we go and buy and say that we want better players, more wages, more money to get the better players, to get the better quality, to get this, to get that, to get us further up, to be this so-called big club that we are when we're not even a big club anymore, let alone an elite club. And I think everything shows on that at the minute. And then go and justify when we go and get the bullshit in. And then start chatting about, but what about the youth players? Or what about this? Or what the fuck do you want then? The fuck do you want?
Yeah,
you want
Lubo.
this big club. No, this is everyone.
Do
you want this big club?
Oh, can I talk?
Hang on, let them finish and then Lubo come in.
This is off of what I see so much in the chat and everything. Last bit. And with that, people want this, people want that, but then they go and totally contradict it that they want this and this to get a chance and everything. Oh no, we shouldn't have bought that player because we can do this with our youth academy, or we can do that with him, or give him time, give him games. I'm sorry, we ain't got time anymore. We ain't got spare games to give anymore. We need players. If we last, we need players next season that can literally land on that floor and play. Otherwise, we're going to be closer to relegation than ever, because we ain't exactly going to get star players in unless we pay stupid amount of wages that could possibly turn someone's head. So what do we do then? Do we go and turn around and then rely on players that really ain't even good enough for the Championship, let alone the Premiership?
Also,
what do
Dan,
people actually want?
Before you have a go, Lubo, just one thing to anyone who wants to answer this. Why is it then, or Stel, whoever, that Van de Ven, when Tudor was giving him instructions yesterday, he was literally looking at the geezer and saying, fuck off, I'm not doing that. And then Tudor's like this, like on the touchline, and you can visibly see it. Why is that?
Because Mickey Van de Ven couldn't give a flying fuck about this club anymore. He's checked out.
And that's the problem, Stel.
He's gone.
He's still playing for Tottenham, Stel.
Hold on.
That's the problem.
You are talking like a passionate fan who loves Tottenham. These players, they are so disillusioned with how it's run, the transfers we make, the failure to build on anything we ever try. That why should they care? What we think the word professional means something nowadays. It means fuck all. These players, good ones, they want to win, and they want to win silverware, because when they get to 35 and look back, they want to. That's why Harry Kane left, guys. He left because he's not winning nothing at Spurs. So if Van de Ven feels I'm not going to win nothing here, fuck you, Tudor. Fuck you, Vina. He's gone. Romero, he's gone. Listen, it's wrong what they're doing, Danny. You're right, but I understand why they're like that. He's looking and he's thinking, we're getting banged up 4-1 again, twice in one season. He thinks he's better than this. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But in his world, I know Liverpool want me. I know Real Madrid want me. I don't need you. And you know what? Yeah. That's the culture of Tottenham, isn't it?
And that's exactly it. It's the culture.
That's our culture.
Yeah, it goes back to the culture.
I agree with what you're saying. The only thing I would say is... sorry, Lubo. Yeah, sorry. I just said sorry. I just want to say this one bit on that. For me, the only thing that stopped us from doing that also are the fans. Because the moment I think a manager comes in and says, right, he can go, we've got some obsessions. Could you imagine if Pochettino comes in and says, right, Romero, Van de Ven, you're out of here. Kudos, you're out of here. Xavi, you're out of here. Our fans would be in absolute uproar. They'd be like, why have we done that? What is going on? They're our best players. I don't think our fans will allow that to come in and take time. That pain process, that painful like Poch said, that painful part has got to happen. Our fans are so kind of drawn to one player because it's all we actually have. There is no other success. There is no other thing else to get behind. It's like, right, well, I'll support this player. For me, I don't think our fans are ready for the club to go, for a manager to go, who's your best player? Van de Ven. He don't fit for me, so he's out of it. Who's your bet? Romero, he's out of it. And I think we've seen proof with that in Frank, and I think we've seen proof with that now in Tudor. For me, Van de Ven should have been dropped a long time under Frank for what he did with Spence. For me, that I would have had more respect for him if he dropped him. But the moment they played the next game, you knew that he's made an example of Basuma, but not those guys. So for me, that you knew these are the better players. They rule the score here. Romero, the same thing. For me personally, just my opinion. I think Danso was a better defender than Romero this season. Just my opinion. Yeah. I don't think he can do on the ball what Romero can do. Romero's passing ability is light years ahead of maybe anybody in the Premier League. But defensively, I think I've seen more stability from Danso than I have Romero. And again, another manager hasn't been brave enough to say, you know what? I'm sorry, Romero, you're not good enough. Danso, you've earned your spot. Keep your spot. So that for me is, again, just kind of backing up what you're saying. No manager is ever going to have the time and the trust to say this is what needs to happen going forward. So we're always going to be in this position. Sorry, Lubo.
Miss Romero more than any other player yesterday, let me tell you.
No.
I think Danto's better than Romero.
No.
Massive miss.
Let Lubo finish.
No. Let him finish. Firstly, let me just touch on, we're talking about culture, we're talking about players. One of the things that was brought up by Levy in that big argument he had with Mourinho, with the day Mourinho got sacked, was he turned around to Jose and said, "Oh, I've had players that have come and complained about you." So even someone as brilliant a manager as Mourinho, players were going to Levy and complaining about him. Nothing changing. None of this should be a surprise to anybody, right? if this is a business, if you can't run a football business properly, then sooner or later, listen, you get lucky for so long and it lasts for a while. But after a while, and this is in any business, you can ride your luck. If you haven't got talent, if you haven't got people that know what they're doing, then sooner or later that luck is going to run out. And we had people like Paul Barber, Michael Edwards, who were brilliant football administrators. You had managers like Yoel, like Harry, like Poch. You even had Conte and Jose, two winners that were brought in to basically win a league. They were brought in to win a league. And by the way, this was the third time Levy had gone for Mourinho and asked him, right? But Levy expected these guys to do what Poch did and come close on a much smaller budget when transfers were nothing like the prices, the height of the prices, players' fees that they were when Jose and Conte were there. When Neymar and Mbappe went for close on 200 million, the whole thing escalated, and a 20 million player became a 40 million player. So this is not a surprise. Why is this a surprise? If you haven't got people at the top that know what they're doing, you haven't got anybody who knows about football on the board who's running the business to bring in the right recruitment people, who will bring in the right managers, who will bring in the right players, it filters all the way down. This isn't a surprise. This has been coming for years and years and years. And the cupboard is now bare. The players who were there, Pleat went out and got Modric before the 2008 Euros. Absolutely. Kane and Son covered the cracks for many years, for 6 years. So you got Modric there. I'm trying to think. The only thing I think Comey actually did that was correct was go out and get Bale as a kid from Southampton, which turned out to be a brilliant find. But these players kept us going, and you know what? It's not the last 6 years. Harry was third in the table, 3 points off the top behind United and City at Christmas 2011. And he wanted Tevez and Cahill to finish it off and really make a push. And he went to Levy, and Levy said no and gave him 2 free transfers in Saha and Nelson. This has been going on for so many years. That we are a big club. We're just run like a Mickey Mouse club. This is a big club.
Anymore.
So
we're not anymore.
A big club.
But not anymore. I think, like you said, the more you work, the higher you go. But ultimately, you can fall as quick as you can go up. Yeah. Look at Leicester this year, and they're now looking at going down again. Everton went down. Villa went down. It's all right saying.
James, Wayne that's on the WhatsApp group, Wayne from Leicester. He was saying, because I was having a chat with him the other day, and I said to him, is this the situation where you've got the father who unfortunately died in that helicopter crash that was brilliant, and a son that's nowhere near the level? And he said, absolutely. He said there's been so much mismanagement there since the father died.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with most of what you've just said, but when Dan E says about how sentimental our fans are, etc., he's absolutely bang on. Because what I see is every time we sign a crap player, everyone backs it. Just back it. Everyone backs it. We justify, right, why Sosa's going to be a good signing, why Gray was a good signing. We justify Yang. We justify Tell. We justify Odegaard. We justify all of these signings, right? But the same people that are justifying these players are then complaining that our squad is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Well, our squad is going to get weaker if we keep signing crap footballers, right? And you get really annoyed when people mention, like when I mention like Gray or you go, oh, you're always going after the young ones. Well, they're the young players we're bringing in, right?
But they seem to be the scapegoats, Sav, all the time. The same 4 players, I keep hearing you say, what about the senior players, Sav, that are just not performing?
Squad, Lumo. Squad.
Mate, Richie, Richarlison, Romero have all been criticised.
Hang on. Yeah. Sorry, Lugo, when you say the same 4 players,
they've all been criticised, I think.
Name me the senior pros that I rate.
No, I'm just saying, but you don't
Vicario gets slapped.
Every time
Vicario gets slapped.
you mention the same 4
My
players.
goalkeeper.
Me and Savva are always on Romero's case. Always on Romero's case.
In the
For
last
2 years now. Sorry.
This is who we've been buying. Danny and I sat there during that summer and we went, right, you got 40 million to spend on a central midfielder. Spurs go and buy Gray, right? Go and buy a senior pro, right? Spurs need to replace Son. What have we done in the last 3 windows? 3 windows in a row. Tell Odegaard, Yang, right? That's what Spurs do, right? Spurs needed to replace Kane. We got Richarlison the year before he left, and then Dominic Solanke after. These are shit signings. But what happens every time a fan like me calls out shit signings, somebody in the fan base, not saying you, somebody in the fan base will make an argument as to, hell this, Odegaard this, Gray this, Bergvall this, Dragostin this, Vicario this. And I'm sitting there going, hang on, so you want to, not you, but the royal you want to defend these bad signings, and in the same breath we want to complain that we're not a good team anymore. For me, I can't back these shit signings. I can't do it. I can't sit and watch crap like Archie Gray play for Spurs, right? And then I'm told, you're going to go at the young players. 40 million. 40 million was spent on him. I'm now 2 years down the line, and I'm still watching him going, sorry, who watched you and said there's a player there? Who watched you and said that's why we're buying him? Who did it with Tell? Who did it with Odegaard?
Right.
Saul.
We'll disagree, but
Can I say goodbye quickly, guys? Listen, thanks for having me on.
Mate.
Lubo, Dan, everyone. Brian, nice to be on a show with you, mate. I've not been on a show with you before, so it was nice. Everyone in the chat, you have a good day, good week, and
enjoy your move.
Relegation. See you later.
See you, mate.
But,
do you see my point, Lubo?
Sad. We
just celebrate all these average players.
No, I don't celebrate any average player.
Players
are brought in. Let me finish. Players are brought in for the future. Spurs didn't have 40 million only for a central midfield player the year they signed Gray. They had a lot more than that. They didn't spend it. Ange went after Gallagher for midfield the whole summer. He was never going to get him from Chelsea, but he just kept going. Spurs would have paid 60 million. That's 100 million. There's always money there that they don't spend. It's their club. They spend the money how they choose to spend it, but they never spend enough. They never stretch themselves. They never push themselves. This is always the case. And we know, funny enough, he was spot on, wasn't he, Paul O'Keefe, where he said that summer, Sav, listen, we got rid of Skip, Ndombele, Lo Celso and Højbjerg. So we got rid of 4 established midfield players and replaced them with 2 kids, which is nonsensical. Just ridiculous.
We should never have even got those ones in, though.
It's all about the wage bill. Okay,
Lubo, you said we don't spend enough money. You said we don't spend enough money, but how much does Douglas Luiz cost and Robinson from Fulham? Last season, did you get them for 30 million each, or maybe less? 30 million each?
Probably get Robinson would have probably cost more. Douglas Luiz, I don't know, probably 30 million.
So they do spend enough money, but they're wasting our money on players like Archie Gray. No.
Well, for me, they're wasting their.
Tell Odegaard and Gray is £100 million for Tell Odegaard and Gray, right?
That is
I'm
shocking.
sorry. People say I don't like the youth players. I don't like players that aren't good. I don't care how old they are, right?
If you're shit, you're shit.
If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. For me, and this is why whenever we've had the Archie Gray conversation, 40 million is a lot of money. And when we're going, they could have bought others, but why didn't they buy the others instead of Gray? Like,
Sad, because we had Lang in charge.
Yeah, but what about Paratici then? What about Paratici? Paratici did the same thing.
James, Paratici has gone because nobody was listening to him regarding players. Regarding well, this is what you're left with. He wanted Derby or Tudor in November. when he walked into training and saw players just doing what they wanted in training, completely disrespecting Frank. He saw a complete mess in the training ground, went back and said, this is just not working. Nobody's showing Frank. He's lost the dressing room. You go and get De Zerbi or go and get Tudor. Vinay and Frank, Vinay and Lange, hang on. Then Vinay and Lange, because they had backed Frank and because Vinay came out and said, we've gone through 30 managers, Frank is the one that fits, he would have looked stupid after 5 months. Right. So,
but I also think you'd be stupid to bet. It's like you with your business and me telling you, right, buy this, that's going to make you money. Buy this, that's going to make you money. Buy this, this is going to make money. Go down this route, this is going to make you money. And in doing so, you've lost. But then I say to you again, Lubo, invest in this one as well. That's going to make you money. You're going to go, hold on a minute. I've listened to you with Star. I've listened to you with X, Y, Z, all these players, and they've all lost. And now you want me to listen to you again?
All lost. No, they haven't all lost.
No. Hang on,
wait a minute. We talk about Kulusevski being a major miss this year. Paratici.
You do. I don't. I didn't rate him when he was here, to be honest. I think he's better than what we've got now, but I still think he's rubbish.
Okay. Bentancur before the injury was very good. When Conte brought him in, Bentancur was excellent. I don't think there's any question. That first season that he came, I think he had a really good.
They were both quality. They were both good, weren't
they? So Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski, all good people. For me, Vicario's form has slipped. I think it's still, his kicking should be improved. In fact, they shouldn't be passing back to him and letting him play from his area because the shot saving is his speciality. So work to his strengths, not his weaknesses. I think that's a coach's problem. That's a coach's fault as well. But Vicario came in. Listen, for me, he's nowhere near Jennings, Clements, and Lloris that are the best 3 keepers by a country mile that I've seen in my lifetime.
But carry on with the players that he's made a success. For me,
Basuma, everyone was excited when Basuma joined from Brighton. Everybody. Me too. Yeah. Me too. For me, he's been a disappointment for whatever reason. So who
has Paratici brought in that's been a success? Who has Paratici brought in that's been a success?
Let him finish his bit. He's going through it. Let him.
He's going
through his play. How old is Vicario?
Sorry?
How old is Vicario?
20, must be 28 now, I think.
And you think that after 28 years, let's say 18 years of playing football, a coach is going to get him to kick the ball better?
He's only played top football for 4 years.
You think that a player that's only played football for the last 4 years is going to have a coach who's going to get him to kick the ball? It's for the birds, mate. That's not the way that life works.
Sorry.
By the time you get to the Premier League,
I'd like to know who's actually good.
If you're a top flight goalkeeper and you can't kick the ball, do you know what Pep Guardiola does with that goalkeeper?
Yes, we saw that. We saw that with Joe Hart.
He gets a better goalkeeper.
We saw that with Joe Hart.
He does. He doesn't
so Lubo, for me,
he gets another goalkeeper.
But for me, Lubo, those players you've just named they're okay. They're okay. Yeah, that should be for me. That should be like the minimum. The Bentancurs, the Koglous, that should be the minimum. Romero, 1 game good, 3 games bad, 1 game good, 3 games bad. So that for me is the bare minimum. Who is Paratici? I think me and Dan went through it on a show. How many players can we actually say that Paratici brought in that you go, yeah, well done?
I think he's brought 15. Listen, he may not be the answer, but he's damn sight better than Lang.
Based on what? The players, in my opinion, the Lang just brought in better players. But when I said that earlier, people said, no, Paratici ain't been here for 2 years.
Okay.
But again, we're defending average, aren't we? Like
exactly,
Look at the way Paratici's backed. Look at the way we're trying to defend. Vicario is not a good goalkeeper, and we're trying to make out that he is. Bentancur, by the way, in that first year, I thought Bentancur was very good against the teams that we were better than. Like I thought he was very good in those games. He dictated. I think when we played the better teams, I think you saw the level that Bentancur actually is at as a footballer. I don't mind him. He's decent. He's done a good job. We keep defending these average signings. Every time Spurs sign a Tell, we get video. Not you, Lubo. We get videos. Why Tell fixes Spurs? What are we doing?
Until we get new owners who bring a completely new look to this club. For me personally, I think the route that the other 4 of the other big 5 clubs have taken, because you've got Arsenal, Man U, Liverpool, and Chelsea, have all got American owners who have already got interest in, the football club's another sporting franchise in effect for them. So they have experience in top level sports. And and City did it differently. They threw loads of money in it. They brought the team in from Barcelona to run it, didn't they? And they've been absolute. And that team from Barcelona came from Pep's team, that for the Barcelona team, that were brilliant. So they knew how to run a football side as well. So we've had owners that have had no football experience. I think Martin Peters was on for a few months in 2002 as a consultant, and that's been it. And the only person that they've listened to occasionally has been David Pleats. But apart from that, we've never had a football person on the board like you've had with all the other big clubs, apart from City. And we are suffering badly. And you can see the difference. We're not run as a football club. We're run as a commercial entity. That's all very well. Levy was a fantastic businessman, but Levy was chairman of this football club. If he was a fantastic businessman, then he'd have been making great footballing decisions and great financial decisions.
But if you don't know your football, if you don't know your football so well, that's when you've got to rely on the people that you employ to do it, which obviously you can put on him as well. But I think one thing everyone has, or majority have accepted, Levy weren't the problem. He was
Levy was a massive problem, Dan.
He was not the problem. The problem, no, he wasn't, because there's still a massive problem. Because there's still a massive problem there, and Levy ain't there anymore, and we look worse without him.
Dan, let's go back.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let's go back.
Let me finish. Because part of the problem, I'm agreeing with that.
But
the biggest problem at this club
is how the culture has been built up.
The biggest
over the past
20 years. One. I can't hear shit.
I was just finishing my point. Right. Levy was part of the problem. No two ways about it. But we actually look worse without him now. Levy was not the only problem at Spurs. And one thing he definitely got used for, and he definitely put him like the gun at his own head many a time, but he got used as he was the problem, the only problem. There's not another problem at the club. Everyone, it was always on Levy. When you actually look at it higher, the problem is the owners. That is where it all starts. And then you can start picking off at the rest. But Levy was not the problem at the club. It's Enoch. Enoch are the issue. Until they go, nothing will change.
Sure, but the problem with that sentiment is, and I don't necessarily disagree with you 100%, but when people are saying there's still problems and Levy's not there, the culture doesn't change in 1 year. This is the problem, right? This is what we do with managers as well. We bring in a manager and go, God, this one's shit. You're like, well, they're picking up the mess from the last person. Tudor's now picking up the mess from Frank. Frank picked up the mess from Ange picked up the mess from Conte. Conte picked up a mess from Nuno. And this is the problem. We need patience. Now, I'm not saying whether or not these owners and Vinay and that are the right people to change that culture is a different conversation. But Levy left behind, I'm not saying he's the only problem, but Levy left behind a trail of crap. And that's not going to be that's not going to have been eradicated from the club between September and February.
Of course not.
And this is the problem. But we're doing this in everything, right? Like Paratici and Lang. If they go now, the new director of football needs years to sort out the issues at the club, implement a culture, slowly get rid of players. But football fans tend to talk like it's Football Manager, like that you can go, boom, snap the fingers, everything's changed. And this is why when I was saying I didn't want Frank sacked, it's not that I thought, oh my God, you're amazing. But it was
exactly
everyone went, oh, Frank's ruined this club. Frank's a long line, is another in a long line of managers that's been given a bad hand and takes all the blame. Look at straight away. Look at Tudor. Look how Stell blamed Tudor from one game. We're blaming Tudor from one game, right? What chance has anybody got at this club if we do not actually take the time to implement change?
So can
Until the owners go, nothing, mate.
I'm gonna shoot though. I'm just gonna shoot. So take care, boys. Thank you.
See you, mate.
See you
Thanks,
later, James.
I'm going to give a hot take, and still would absolutely hate this. Absolutely hate it. I think Enoch are trying to change it. I absolutely do. I think getting Vinay in, they're trying to change it. I think Lange needs to go. But you look at the appointments that they're trying to make. They're trying to go and get these guys from City, Mawson, Lewington. The problem is, and I agree, Savva. You and I have been on so many shows together. You know that I agree with you about the squad. But when you look at the profile of player they've actually been getting, they didn't do enough. But actually, the profile that they've started to get is the right profile. It's just there's a whole load of crap that they're having to sort out. So I think they are trying to sort it out. But the problem is there's so much to sort out, and they're going at what I would call corporate pace, right? So you hire somebody, and then they go on their notice, they go on gardening leave because City aren't letting these guys go. They're like, you can go on your gardening leave, and Tottenham can have you in 6 months' time. So City put them on the gardening leave. We're now waiting for these guys to come in, but football doesn't operate at corporate pace. Football operates day by day and week by week. And that's why we're so screwed. I think they are trying to fix it, but they clearly didn't realise that they weren't going to have the amount of time. They didn't realise just how bad it was, and now we're in the shut.
Can I ask
So
you
what's the excuse for January then? What's the excuse for January? If they're trying to fix it so much, what's the excuse for January?
Yeah, that interview that Lange gave, the week after that, the week after the interview, the week after the window closed, was a real eye opener into that guy's mind. That was, for me, that was like, well, that's it. That's it. It's done, right? Because he came out, nobody knew that we were going to have these many injuries. Like, dude, have you not met our club, right? When in the summer, everyone was going, loan this player out, they're never going to get a game. I'm sitting there like, this is Tottenham Hotspur, they're going to get a game. We're gonna need players on the bench. We've got 16-year-olds on the bench right now because we've loaned out all our 21-year-olds. And I'm not saying 21-year-olds are good enough, but they've got to be better than the 16-year-olds. Do you know what I mean? It's levels of crap. And at the moment, we're really digging down into we're really going down into the sewer. Right?
But why did they do nothing in January then? If they're trying to fix the club, now I can see where you're coming from. If they can't get who they want on business in that, you don't have to buy for a manager. You can buy for a club when you know that player is going to get 100%. Used by the next manager, 100%. Like Gallagher. So why didn't they do anything else but that?
Because it's analysis paralysis. It's because they're operating at corporate pace. We'll go and get Gallagher because he's the right profile. We want Semenyo because he's the right profile. We can't get him, so we don't get anybody else. We know that this is wrong. We know that football doesn't work in 3 and 6 months.
So how are they changing then? Because this is what they've always done.
Rain, they didn't fancy Frank.
No.
Period. End of. They did. No. They could see the writing. Butcher could see the writing on the wall.
Look, I'm not saying that they're good, okay? I'm saying I think they're trying to change, but I don't think they realise the urgency that football works at.
Maybe that's a point.
That's Lange's poor. I'm sorry.
Can I just ask one question, guys? Just one question, right? If that's the case, Rain, if we stay up, right, do you think they will change then? Do you think what Lange said in the last interview, was it last week, where he said we're going to go big in the summer? Do you think that's true, or do you think that's just the usual bollocks that we hear from them all the time?
Well, if we look in the last 7 months, the only player that we've signed, and admittedly we've had a couple of loans in there as well, the only player that we've signed who is the wrong profile, is Tell in the last 7 months. All of the other players, you can say, Mwani is rubbish. I don't buy that he had a decent game yesterday, right? But you're going to have misses. But all of the others are the right profile. They're not 19-year-olds from a relegated team that's Burnley. They're not an 18-year-old who's never played top flight football from Denmark or Sweden or wherever we got.
It was better players, but we needed more. You're basically saying,
yeah.
So I'm saying that they're getting 24, 25-year-old Kudus played 3 years and played 3 years in the Premier League. Right profile. Zabi, 22 years old, played multiple years in the top flight. All right. Paulinia, right profile. Right.
True.
Conor Gallagher.
Mwani, most wanted him last season, didn't they?
You know what I mean? Right profile.
Since he got
the problem is that they're going too fucking slow.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Do you know what? I actually kind of agree with that bit.
It's a fair point.
Can I just say that, right? I'm with Danny on this part. I know you didn't say this verbatim, Dan, but whether or not they didn't rate Frank, right, is not a reason to not help the squad, right? Because Tottenham Hotspur are not Thomas Frank, right? If you didn't rate Frank, sack him, right?
I did.
Whether you sack him or not, the club still need players, right? So all of this, we're not buying because they don't rate Thomas Frank. But what about Frank's now gone and we're still in the shit?
Yeah.
So that for me, again, just shows complete negligence if that is the answer. I don't believe that that's true, though. I don't believe in any way, shape or form that they've not signed because of Frank. I think this is just what we see Spurs do in transfer windows, right? And if we go back to last summer, as I said, everyone wet their pants about that summer. Only 2 senior pros were bought. Only 2 senior pros were bought, and I'm led to believe it's a great window. Paulinho was a loan, right? Mwani was a panic loan, and we're all going, oh, what a good window. We bought Takai.
But they were still there to play. They were still bought there to play, weren't they? Whether it's a loan or a buy or whatever, they're still there for the season.
Yes, but as a club, how can you plan when you are... What other top club loans players?
So, what have we ever planned? So we're playing for 25 years.
I know, Lubo, but look at Liverpool, look at Arsenal, look at City. When these clubs are not bringing in loans, right? The only loan you would say is Hincapi, which is a loan with an obligation to buy, I believe, right? So it's essentially just paying further down the line for him, right?
And Odegaard was a loan, wasn't he?
Sure, but Spurs have gone in one summer and gone, right, Paulinho, we'll bring you in, great, like Paulinho as a player, but we'll bring you in on loan. Mwani, we'll bring you in as a panic loan, right? Xavi Simons was like their 4th or 5th choice player that they wanted. Now, that's not me saying I don't like Xavi Simons, but when you look at that transfer window and everyone was going, oh, how good it was, and this was our strongest window, break it down. It was a great big panic from start to finish. When you break it down, it was a panic. Somebody in this football club went, yeah, that Tell done absolutely nothing on loan for 6 months. I know. Let's buy him. Right? Someone went, oh, Takai's become available. Sorry, what? Why are you buying Takai? You've got Vuskovic. You've got Ashley Phillips. You've got Dorrington. Right? We did that. Mwani. Panic on the last day of the window. Whether or not people rate him or not, that can't be part of a plan if you've panic bought him on the last day of the window. So we're bringing in these players without any long-term plan, any long-term strategy, and then people are going, go on, get the best out of them. That's not how it works. That's not how... You can't just... This isn't a computer game.
We know.
But Lubo, some people don't... But Lubo, so many of our fans don't seem to know.
But do you know what, Sav? The only way to do it, you just break it down very clinically. If you're going to run a business, you're going to run a football club, if you're going to run it properly, then you look at the way you want to play. The way you want to promote your product and the way you want to play as a football club. Pochettino said, right, I'm playing this way, and he put it right the way through the club. And that should have been the blueprint. He took us further than any other manager has. And instead of being looked at, oh, he never won anything, I thought he did superbly for Spurs, considering the owners that he had and the lack of backing that he had. I think Pochettino was an absolute miracle worker. And he put a blueprint down. We play like this. So if you carry on playing like this, even when he's gone, then you bring in the managers to play like that, who bring in the players to play like that. So you've never got a mishmash of players bought for certain. So you got Conte wants Poch and Udogie as wing backs. Ange comes in, plays them inverted. Pointless, just pointless. Just a waste of time bringing in Poch and Udogie to play as inverted wing backs. Nonsense. And this is the problem. This is the problem. This is why you've got to set what you want. It comes down, as Rain was saying, comes down to culture. That's where I hated Levy, because there was no culture for this football club to be successful. None whatsoever. Okay, all his culture was make a profit. He'll walk off with £1 billion for his shares. He's very happy. Don't give a sod about the club. Who gives a shit about the club? He doesn't. He's just walked away with his money. Fantastic. Great.
Lubo, it's the 4-letter P word, isn't it? Plan.
All the time. All the time.
If there's no plan,
that's what this is all about, mate.
I know.
This is
why I'm saying, Lubo. This is why when everyone's going, sack this manager, sack that manager, bring in Robbie Keane, bring in Poch, I don't care. We will be sitting here in a year's time, whoever the manager is, if it's under this ownership, we're going to be sitting in a year's time moaning the moment they have a 4-5 losing game streak, the moment we have some more injuries, because we'll all be going, well, who was that player bought for? Was like Tudor has picked up 6 managers worth of players. 6 managers. If you're gonna add in Ben Davis, who still falls under Poch, right?
I think Romero's the only Jose one, and Davis is the only Poch one.
Okay, but he's still. Yeah. So we still got people here from Poch. You got Poch, Jose, Conte, Nuno, Ange, now Frank, Tudor. Like, this is 6 to 7 managers worth of players. That's why when Stell's saying, "Oh, these players aren't set up properly," but for what? Like they're not bought for. They're not bought for a strategy. When Man City bring their players in, they are bought in to play Pep Guardiola's style of football, right? Now, we all know Pep can adapt and Pep can change up what that looks like. But when they bring in players, you go, yeah, that's a Pep Guardiola player, don't you? Ryan Cherky, that's a Pep player, right? You look at Spurs and I go, who's Telby bought for? Who's Sinodeberg? What type of player is this? Like, who are these players bought for? What are we buying them for? What is Bergvall, for example? I'm not knocking him, but what is he? What is Bergvall? Is he a 6? Is he an 8? Is he a 10? Who's he?
You see what he's done. Sav, what's just answer on that one. Lang with his Scandinavian contacts, Bergvall's the big up and coming player coming out of that country, and Lang has seen it and said, right, he's looking good. He's in the Swedish. Is it Swedish squad? Swedish squad at 17 years old.
Sure.
Yeah, he's going to be a really good player. We'll buy him before anybody else does, and that's the logic behind his thinking.
I get that, but you get what I'm saying. By the way, sorry, this isn't. I'm not knocking Bergvall. I'm just saying we're bringing in these players, but with no thought of where do they fit into a plan.
Right. That's right.
Do you know what I mean? We can go and bring in. Right now, we could go and bring in, let me just use it for example, right? We wanted to bring in Gibbs White. I kind of understood why you want Gibbs White. Gibbs White can play in the 8 or the 10. He's a goal-scoring midfielder, loads of Premiership experience, physical, England international. Makes sense. I get it. But when we're going and plucking these random, when we're going to sign Yang, When we're going, right, we need a winger. And across the whole of Europe, we find Odegaard at Burnley. I just don't get it.
Yang was meant to follow to keep the Korean fans. We know that. That was purely a marketing ploy. That was all that was. We know that.
But Luke, I get it, but this is my point. That's not how a football club should be run.
Of course it's not. And we're not run like a football club. We've never been run by a football club. Since Scholar had the right idea, he just didn't know how to execute it. He was years ahead of his time, and he nearly bankrupted the club because of that. He just couldn't execute it properly. He understood the direction football was going in, and he had a love for the club. There's been no other chairman that's loved this club like Irving Scholar. And since then, Sugar saw the opportunity with Sky, and he made a fortune from the satellite dishes, etc., etc. Sheringham had a meeting with Sugar. I went to see Teddy Sheringham with Johnny and Billy at the Radlett Theatre this time last year. And Sheringham told a story how he went to Sugar in the summer of 97, I think it was the summer of 97, and said, or 96, and wanted to know what players we were bringing in that summer. And Sugar said, why? And Teddy told us a story. He said that, and obviously this is all alleged before anybody says anything, that Teddy turned around and said, I'm a player here. I want to know what's going on. Are we ambitious? And Sugar turned around and said, well, if you don't like it, and Sheringham said, okay, off he went to Man U.
Mate, it doesn't surprise me. Look, guys, I want to do some super chats and leave it there. But again, we're at the stage where we can all sit and row, and you know, people will now turn on Tudor, right? Like, let's be brutally honest. If we don't beat Fulham, people will go, oh, wrong signing, wrong. As I said, I don't think it mattered who came in. I don't think it mattered who came in whilst we're in this injury crisis with these players available. What we've got to hope is that we play some teams that are just that bit worse than us and scrape a few wins. Because the way I watched Forest play yesterday, the way I'm watching West Ham play, these clubs are actually starting to look like teams. Right? Forest were very good yesterday, by the way. If anyone watched Forest Liverpool, they were very good, Forest. Again, looked like a team. But let me do these super chats, guys. Big up to Aussie Coys, who said, what's it going to take for fans to wake up? Mate, I think a lot have, but if we continually blaming managers, I fail to believe that every manager we sign is just shit. I fail to believe that they're all that bad, that these players just simply don't respect them. But, mate, let's see what happens. Big up to Laszlo Smooth Jazz, who said, we need Lubo's 20-point manifesto and we need it now. Don't get him started. Laszlo, don't get him started.
Only 7 points, not 20.
20-point manifesto. Big up Laszlo Smooth Jazz. Big up Sue Smith with the super sticker. Really appreciate you, Sue. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Big up to Aussie Coys, who's come in and said, you buy championship level players, you become a championship level team. It really is that simple. We are buying very bad players. We're a very bad team. It's not rocket science. I completely agree with you. Big up to Alf City. Been a member for 7 months. Said, don't worry, lads. Chelsea will be Arsenal in your stead. Listen, what happens with Arsenal at the moment is the least of my concerns. I'm worried about my own club staying up right now. Do you know what I mean? But big up to you. Big up to a user who said, why not bring in free agents till the end of the season? Listen, all they had to do in the January window, why not get John Duran on loan? Why not get Moussa Diaby on loan? Why not look at Rayan? Has anyone been watching Rayan at Bournemouth? He looks a player, doesn't he? Gets the ball, beats men, driving at goal, scored goals. He's got assists. We don't buy those sorts of players. Big up to you. Really appreciate that. Ryan Isaacs, how you doing, Ryan? Hope you're well, my man. Said this group of players is the worst this club has ever had, full stop. I'll be honest, this is one of the weakest squads I think I've seen in my 40 years. I think it's atrocious. But, hey, other people seem to think it's just the managers. So, listen, it is what it is. Big up to you, Ryan. Really appreciate that. And last but not least, my man Jordan is always very generous to me. Said, Lang, Vinay, and all the players are wage thieves, being totally unaccountable to anyone. Managers should never be totally blameless, but they are all coming into a culture that is absolutely rancid. I think that word, Jordan, is spot on. And this is the problem. Tudor's coming in to a shit show. Frank came in to a shit show. Right? Ange came in to a shit show. Like there's a theme here, right? None of them are picking up a good group. None of them are getting the time to actually implement anything. Big up to you, Jordan. Really appreciate that. Guys, thank you everyone for coming on. Really appreciate it. A long show this morning. Lubo, when are you boys next? You're not live tonight on the Spurs 5, are you?
No, day off today. We've all got various things going on, so unfortunately it's a night off, and we're back on Thursday.
Okay, all right. Oh, I think that would have been I reckon that would have been one of your biggest shows if you had gone live tonight. But it is what it is, right? Dan, when are you next live on your channel? I know you just kind of what you want.
Sooner or later, some stage this week, probably tomorrow.
There you go. Get over, support those two channels. Danny K, I don't know where he is, but thanks, Danny K, for coming on. I'm going to send you all over to Ben at the Calfee Company. Please show your support. Smash a like button for him. Please subscribe to his channel. Just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid, something like that. Much love, guys. Another shit show of a week coming up for Spurs. And we move to Fulham on Sunday?
Sunday, 2 o'clock, I think it is.
And Fulham, by the way, guys, at the moment, Fulham, not a bad team. Not a bad team. Anyway, much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.